existence of a God?
I mean, I kind of want to tell you, but I don't want to like crush your views or anything. I don't want to crush your fan base.
No, yeah,
Um,
you're more than welcome to press my views and push my fan base. But let's hear
so
the
you
argument. I
don't.
just want to hear what the argument
Okay,
is.
okay, I got you. So you don't believe God is real because you can't see him?
No, because it's much simpler to posit the existence of just a natural world rather than a natural world plus a supernatural world. There's no reason to add like these supernatural entities to my worldview
Okay,
when
you're kind of
natural
yapping.
entities
You're kind of
explain the world
yapping.
just fine.
You
Why
do
would God
yoga?
give Satan the power to give other people? Wait,
Oh my
oh,
God, why?
you got a violation for hateful content. For the life of me, I have no idea what you did. You got flagged for hateful content, so I have to go into the next one. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get up to 5K likes, and with that, we'll move on to the next guest. But make sure you're dropping a follow as well if you're enjoying the debates. And with that, we'll move on to the next guest. I don't know. Like I disagree with the violation given. Although the stream will get taken down if I don't remove you. So it goes, I suppose.
Yo, Potion. Here, you're in the live.
Oh, wait. It sounds like a bunch of like middle schoolers at lunch. Jesus, you got to be 18 or older in order to go live. By the way. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Man, if you don't shut your bitch ass up, your ass talking about God ain't real, you.
Good one. Bro, they get so creative every single time. All right. I mean, hopefully we'll find someone to go live with. Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, Ian? Allegedly.
Yeah, indeed. Do you think God is real?
I do, man.
Mm-hmm. And which God specifically do you believe in?
I believe in the creator of the universe.
Mm-hmm. So do you have like a religion that you follow?
Yeah, I follow Christianity.
Gotcha. So do you have an argument for why Christianity is true or proof that Christianity is true?
There's all kinds of different things that's in the Bible that relates to real world situations like Sodom and Gomorrah. They found balls of sulfur, pure sulfur, that you can tell has burned and rained from the sky. And there's different kinds of places, things that archaeology in Israel has brought up.
Wait, let's go one example at a time, so we're not just like rapid fire spitting out examples. So the specific claim is that there were balls of pure sulfur that rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah. So I'm just asking you, what's the specific Bible verse that this is going to correspond to?
I don't have my Bible sitting right next to me. I can't remember a specific.
Yeah, so why would even if I grant that this is true, which I'd still need to look into, why would that mean that the Bible is true? Why would like the existence of like pure sulfur balls be indicative of the existence of the Bible being true?
One instance doesn't. One instance can be perceived as a coincidence, or just
wait. But why would like one instance of what? Like I'm not even sure in what way did these like do these like does the sulfur connect to the existence of a God or the proof of Christianity?
So we're dealing with a case here. Now I look at this debate like a court case, and so one small piece of evidence.
But why is this evidence for you? I'm not sure. That's what I'm confused about. That's what I don't get. I don't understand why the existence of this sulfur would be evidence for you in the first place.
Because a book written from old says that it's there, and then whenever archaeologists.
Okay, so what verse does this book?
I just told
say that it's there.
It is. I can't remember the verse, man. I don't.
Right, so if I Google search like Bible sulfur verses, maybe.
No, search sulfur found Sodom and Gomorrah.
Wait, but I just want the Bible verse that this actually corresponds to.
Oh, okay. It would be something with Sodom and Gomorrah. And raining hellfire and brimstone.
Okay, wait. So it says specifically the whole land of it is sulfur and salt, burning that is not sown, nor bears, nor any grass grows therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah. That's the only mention of oh, okay, wait. And then the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah, sulfur and fire. Okay, cool. So, oh, sure. So, then like let's look it up. So, pure sulfur, Sodom and Gomorrah. Oop. I'm like dropping my pen and shit. Hold on.
You're good.
I think I'm not really able to find any sources that say that there's like pure sulfur at the site of Sodom and Gomorrah. It seems like the only things that I can find referencing this seems to be like very partisan sources, like just Christian sources. Like I have Quora.com and Reddit, which are not sources, and then I have like ChristianAnswers.net and HolyLandSite.com and TestingTruth.com and Religion News Service. So do you have like a real source that says that these like actually exist?
No, like I don't have a source like Reuters or like somebody like that. I mean,
just like a source that isn't like someone's opinion or that isn't, you know, like someone who's already a Christian and believes and agrees with all of this in the first place. That's all I'm asking for. Is just like a neutral, unbiased source.
yeah, I understand that. I mean, like I wasn't trying to split the hairs of the sulfur. I was trying to give you my perception of why I take all of these things.
But I don't even have any evidence that there is like pure sulfur.
There's documentaries.
Could you tell me what the documentaries are?
Not right offhand, boss man. I don't remember every single.
Okay, so let's go to. Is there an example that you do know, like all of the evidence for? You know the verses that it's referring to. You know the specific pieces of evidence and a source for that evidence. Because I don't want to go through like example after example that you just can't substantiate.
I understand that. So I'm gonna leave you with this anyways, because you're not really trying to have a conversation. All you're trying to do is take any.
All right. Well, I mean, if we're just like pivoting to meta commentary, I'll probably move on to the next guest. But I do appreciate you coming on up here. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 15K likes. Drop a follow as well if you're enjoying the debates. You want to see more debates like this in the future. Consider joining the Discord as well. Link in bio. I would love to see you there. Although you do need to access it via a web browser, otherwise it doesn't work. And with that, we'll go to the next guest. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, it's going good.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Mm-hmm. And do you think God is real?
So what's funny is you want to know why do you want to know how old everyone is?
Because you need to be 18 or older in order to go on TikTok. It's a TOS violation if you have someone who's younger than 18 who is on your TikTok live as a guest. It could get the entire live taken down if someone is a minor.
So you want to follow the TikTok guidelines so strict, but whenever it comes to God's law, you care less about it.
There's no way you think this is a good argument. You have to be trolling. Can you tell me what the first 3 books of like the Bible are, or whatever religion you are?
Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy.
Well, that's not true, but it's like close enough. So, this is just like an absurd argument. Obviously, I'm going to follow the TikTok terms of service because TikTok actually exists. And if I don't follow the TikTok terms of service, I'm actually going to experience real punishments as I have in the past.
So you wake up every morning. Who do you thank? Do you thank yourself or?
I don't thank anyone when I wake up in the morning. I'm not sure why I would be thanking someone.
So you're ungrateful.
I mean, I thank people when there's something to be thankful for. I don't.
You're given life, and there's a lot of people that don't get that. So,
yeah, and every Mother's Day I celebrate my mom.
Okay, do you only celebrate on Mother's Day?
No, I mean I celebrate her every time that she does something that's like very, very nice and helpful towards me.
What's the last thing that she done for you?
The last thing that she did, well, she's currently like helping me with my move to a different state. So,
okay, so where are you moving to?
I'm not going to tell you my personal information. Bro, make an argument for God. Why are you like dancing around and dodging the question so hard?
Well, I'm literally talking about, I said, who do you thank every morning? Because I think I would thank God for waking me up.
I don't do that because I don't think God is real.
Is it because your friends Parker and Dean? I feel like you
No,
just
I was an atheist long before I knew Parker and Dean. I think I was actually an atheist long before Parker and Dean were atheists because, I mean, first of all, I'm older than them, and then I also was an atheist in like 8th grade. Not to say that like there's like a hierarchy of atheists or anything like that.
So
Like,
what's the point of these live streams? Like, are you trying to persuade Christians to become atheist?
I'm trying to get people to think more critically about their faith. I think it would be better if people replace their dogmatic thinking with actual, like, genuine critical thinking and intentional thought put
Okay,
into the
so-
beliefs and opinions that people hold. Because it seems like we have, like, people like you, for example, who's been unable to give me, like, a single reason why God exists or why, like, Christianity is true.
Okay, so you're trying to persuade a Christian, right?
Well, I'm trying to,
Alright.
I'm trying to persuade, like, anyone, or just, like, theists in general.
Okay, so whenever you think of a Christian, you think of a good person, right? So you're trying to make good people turn into atheists. Whenever you think of atheists, you think
No,
of bad
no, I
people.
actually don't think of good people when I think of Christians. Quite the opposite, usually. I think most Christians are hypocritical and hateful, or at least many of them are.
So what do you think about atheists?
I think atheists can also be hypocritical and hateful.
So what are you trying to get out of this? Like, you're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
persuade
but so
people-
specifically Christians try to like back up their like bigotry and their hatred with their Christianity. I think it would be a better world if people didn't accept these kinds of explanations. But like, okay, wait, I just gotta be like very clear about this. You're still not giving an argument. How about I'll start the argument off. So I think that God isn't real because I think that the existence of an all good, all powerful God is not compatible with the existence of the world as we see it. I think that there's like gratuitous, completely unnecessary, natural evil and suffering that God could have just avoided if he made the world in a different way. I'd specifically ask you, if God is all good, then why did he make the sun such that its rays would give us skin cancer?
Yeah, so the sun actually has many benefits.
Yeah,
But all you
but
see
why
is-
would he make it so that it like puts out UV rays or that UV rays give us skin cancer?
You gotta limit yourself with how much sun you get, but you have to have sun
Why? Wait, why do you have to limit yourself?
because it can be dangerous. It's just
Yeah,
like
but God is the
medication.
person who made that danger.
So
Like the
you-
danger in this situation is getting skin cancer. Like you're saying that God gave us skin cancer so that we would be aware of the dangers of him giving us skin cancer.
So have you ever got skin cancer from the sun?
No, but lots of people do, and lots of people have.
Okay, how do you know it's from the sun?
Because we know the mechanism at play, that it's specifically the UV rays causing mutations via radiation, which transforms otherwise healthy cells into cancerous cells, which then grow and lead to things like organ failure.
So it seems like you're only pointing out the bad things whenever there's good. that
Yeah,
comes
well, yeah,
from
but
the sun.
if God is all good, there shouldn't be bad things.
It's because there's sin in this world.
So did the sun not emit UV radiation before? And like, do you think the sun is this world?
It's not this world. It's part of the world.
You think the sun is part of the earth?
It's a part of the universe.
Oh, so when you say world, you don't mean world, you mean universe.
Okay, so what does the sun have to do with this?
Yeah, because God made the sun, and the sun gives people skin cancer. Skin cancer is evil, so that's bad.
Have you ever heard of free will?
I'm not sure. So do you think people like freely choose to get skin cancer?
No. I'm saying there's sin and there's free will. So if you didn't have free will, you'd be like a robot, and then you'd still
Wait,
be
this is
complaining.
just a pivot because we're talking about like the sun and skin cancer, and now you're trying to pivot towards like, well, have you ever heard of free will?
Do you
I'm not
think
sure why that
plants-
matters.
Plants can't grow without sunlight.
Yeah, but I'm not sure why sunlight gives us like skin cancer.
That's a skill issue if you're getting skin cancer from the sun. Honestly,
You think it's a skill issue. So
Yes.
why would God make it such that it's even possible to get skin cancer in the first place? Doesn't that sound like uniquely evil? Like wouldn't the all good thing to do be to not make the sun give us skin cancer?
so if you never had it, how do you know it's bad?
How do I know that skin cancer is bad?
Yeah, if you never
Because
had
the people who do have it seem to be pretty unhappy.
Okay, I could say the
It,
same thing.
it
about
like
people.
literally takes the life of like various people.
Do you go to therapy?
What a crazy pivot.
No, I'm just curious.
I'm not going to answer these like weirdly personal questions. How about you engage with the argument? Did God make the sun such that it would give people skin cancer?
No, because what you're doing, you're pointing out every bad whenever there's good.
No. But I'm saying that there's a contradiction. I can recognize that there's
You know,
also good things in the world.
I'm sure you.
But
I'm sure you love medication, right?
Wait. So wait, weird ad hom, first of all, but
No.
the I'm pointing out the bad things because the specific claim about your God is that your God is all good. Your God cannot be all good if he's also giving people skin cancer.
So it's because you don't live on a. What would be the difference from heaven and earth if there's no bad on earth? There'd be no desire to go to heaven, right?
So there could still be a difference because we could have like other forms of evil. We could have like natural, or we could have like evil that arises from free will. But what doesn't make sense is why we would have evil that doesn't arise from free will.
So do you believe in free will?
Me personally, I don't, but it's an internal critique. So we're working off of your definition, which believes that free will exists. So again, my answer is just going to be that we could expect to see evils that arise from other people's free will. That's totally fine. Like that's consistent with the Christian worldview. What isn't consistent with the Christian worldview is the existence of these natural evils that result from things like the sun giving people skin cancer, or earthquakes unaliving 60,000 people a year, or like 3.1 million kids like unaliving each year from starvation.
Wait, so let's just rewind. You just said you don't believe in free will.
Wait, but it's an internal critique, so that's not the point of the debate. Like I know you feel trapped, I know you feel cornered, and I know you're desperate to get away from this aspect of
No.
the
See, this is the
conversation.
thing. You say these things.
But just like going back, like backtracking to my personal beliefs when we're doing an internal critique is going to be completely irrelevant. Right now, I'm not interested in defending my belief about the existence or non-existence of free will. What I am interested in, however, is understanding and pointing out the contradictions in your worldview. And I know you can't defend your worldview, which is why you're trying to move to a completely different area of conversation. But to be clear, it is an internal critique.
So since the sun causes skin cancer, how do you think we can prevent that?
So it's not really a question of how can we prevent it. It's a question of why would God do this to us in the first place?
No, you got to take self accountability of your own actions.
Why?
Right?
So why would God do this to us in the first place?
No, you're blaming God for your own actions. If you're spending 20 hours
who
in
made the sun? Who made the sun emit UV radiation?
God made the sun.
Okay, so God is the person who made the sun emit UV waves, and
I'm very thankful for it.
you're very thankful for skin cancer.
No, I'm very thankful for the sun.
Yeah, but what about is it UV radiation or is it just UV waves? I'm confused. Wait 1 second.
Have you ever heard of sunscreen?
Oh, it's UV light. I'm stupid. Or I guess it is UV radiation as well. Yeah, but for a long time, people didn't have sunscreen, so people just got like sunburnt, and they got skin cancer as well for a hugely long period of time before the advent of sunscreen in the first place. So why would God have the sun give people skin cancer before the advent of sunscreen?
You know what's weird? How come I haven't had skin cancer? How come you haven't? And we both
If skin
at the
cancer
same
exists,
time?
then why don't we have it? If starvation exists, then why haven't we starved to death yet? If murder
no,
exists,
that's
then why has
different.
nobody murdered us yet? What
No,
a great argument.
We're under the same sun, but neither of us have had skin cancer. But you're blaming the sun. We're
Yeah,
under
because
the
it's going to be
same sun.
probabilistic, right? Like every time you're out in the sun, there's like a probability that your genes are going to mutate in such a way that they're going to become cancerous, and that this cancer, they're going to become cancer cells. But this doesn't happen every single time you're out in the sun, or every time you're out in the sun without sunscreen. Even it's going to happen like probabilistically. So just because we're lucky because we avoided it doesn't mean that other people haven't been unlucky.
So you think it's just you're lucky that you haven't gotten it?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like the odds have just not given you skin cancer
To me,
yet.
because you don't believe in God, it sounds like you're living in fear because you have no afterlife, and I'd be the same way.
It sounds like you're pivoting because you have nothing to say about
I'm talking
you have no
about the
explanation
sun. We
for
were just
why
talking
God
about
would
the
make the earth
sun.
in such a way that it gives us skin cancer.
And so I
Huge
said you're
pivot.
fearing about the sun because all you're worried about is skin cancer. I can't be in the sun. I'm getting skin cancer. There's bigger things to be worried about in this world than the sun.
Do you think skin cancer is a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. So why would God give it to us via the sun?
Because there's more good than bad in the sun.
Okay, but why couldn't he make the sun all good?
Well, it is all good.
Oh, so you think that the sun, emitting UV so you think the sun emitting UV radiation is good?
You're not taking self-accountability. If you're in the sun for 30 hours.
Wait, but I just want to know, because you think that the sun is all good. So I just want to hear you say that you think the sun emitting UV radiation is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that when UV radiation gives us skin cancer, that's a good thing?
No, I don't think that's a good thing.
Okay, so why would God make it such that if we're exposed to UV radiation, we get skin cancer?
Is this all you think about? Is the sun putting off skin cancer?
No, I mean, I also think about things like earthquakes. But it seems like you have
So
literally no argument against any of what I'm saying right now.
No. So if God isn't real, then who gave out the sun?
Oh, so I think that the sun arose from the Big Bang, that it was a process of universe creation that resulted in the advent of the sun and the earth and all the other planets in the solar system.
So who should we blame now? Because if God's not real.
Oh, yeah. So the reason that there's anyone to blame at all in the first place, I think that skin cancer is a tragedy in my worldview, but it's not immoral. I don't think that the sun is doing anything immoral, because it's not like the sun is a moral agent in the first place. There's no one to blame because no one is at moral fault insofar as the world is just natural causes. However, if someone made the sun that way, if there was a person in 8,000 BC who made it such that the sun emitted UV rays in the first place, which give people skin cancer, then I would put the moral blame on that person, because that's terrible. It's a terrible thing to do. And similarly, if God made the sun such that it emitted UV radiation and gave people skin cancer, I would blame God for that.
So do you blame God for that or no?
In your worldview, I think that one should blame God. Me personally, I don't, because God's not real. But in your worldview, I'm not sure how you wouldn't blame God for that.
Whenever you see a car fall 100 feet off a cliff and they all walk away from the scene, because that's happened many times, you think that's just a coincidence?
This is a huge pivot, massive pivot. I can answer this question, but just concede that you have no reason why God makes the sun such that it gives us UV radiation.
It's not a
Why would
pivot.
God make the sun do that?
You say the pivot, but you're literally, the screen says God is not real, and so I'm telling you things that are
Yeah. So
miracle.
you're pivoting away from the argument that I'm giving you, and it's because you don't have any answers for it.
Okay, so answer this. Okay.
Wait. Okay, so just to be clear, just to the audience, he is pivoting. He's conceding that he has no explanation for why the sun gives us skin cancer. Sure. What's your question?
Do you listen to people's testimonies?
No, I don't.
Why don't you do it?
Yeah, because there's going to be testimonies for every religion, but additionally, people's various spiritual experiences can be explained by a variety of factors. First of all, the experiences of actually having an encounter with God or having a spiritual experience is just stimulation of the right temporal lobe. It's associated with various mental diseases and ailments, things like epilepsy, things like schizophrenia, things like depression, anxiety, etc. Things that are not typically correlated with logical, rational thinking. So it seems like people have these spiritual experiences because of other factors, not associated with being religious or not being religious. And the spiritual experiences that people actually do experience are going to be highly culturally dependent. If the thing that happened in your testimonial happened to me, I would probably not be a theist. I would probably not be a Christian. I would probably explain it via natural processes. So the interpretation of these specific spiritual experiences is going to come down entirely to the individual themselves.
So if you never listened to testimony, how do you know what it is?
Well, because I know what the concept of the testimony is, that it's you had a spiritual experience or whatever.
So see, in a shorter version of what you just said, I got out of that whole thing you just said, I'm too good for testimonies and I don't want to waste my time.
I made 3 points, none of which are I'm too good for testimonies, but I'll give you the taglines for all of them. So I think the last point I made was that testimonials are going to be interpreted completely different depending on the culture. The second is that testimonials are associated with, they can be explained naturalistically, so there's no reason to rely on a supernatural explanation. And I completely forget what my third point was, but I mean, it's 2 points, so I don't want to overwhelm you with points.
So you've never listened to one though, it could change.
No, I
your
have.
life for
It
the
was
better.
extremely unconvincing. I've listened to so many that I no longer want to listen to them.
So how did the one that you listened to win?
Oh, I've listened to many. I've listened to so many that I don't want to listen to any more
could you just
because of
listen to
how
one of them?
unconvincing I find them to be.
I mean, you could have been listening to one that.
I listened to
trying to-
many. This is like the third.
Can
So
you
you're saying
explain
like, well,
one?
you listened to one. I listened to many for like the third
Can you
time. to be
explain
fair.
how did one of them go, or do you not
So
remember?
one of them went, well, I've experienced the inability to move, and there were demons in my room who were poking and prodding me, which is just like an explanation of sleep paralysis.
So, do you believe in demons?
No, I don't. I don't believe in anything supernatural.
So, did you know whenever people die and say it's a loved one, they can come back, and that's a demon? Have you ever heard of a testimony like that?
No, I don't believe in the existence of demons. I haven't. I mean, this just sounds like sleep paralysis. That's like all of the things involving demons. Sounds like just either a hallucination or sleep paralysis.
Okay.
Or some of them even sound like dreams, to be honest.
Do you remember your dreams?
Yeah, very often.
Who gives you your dreams?
Our brains give us our dreams.
How's that possible?
Because so our brain just like shows us like a specific experience, like a slideshow or like a storyline or various like images and feelings.
So, do you feel accomplished in your life?
In many ways, yeah. But this is again just going to be a huge pivot. So it sounds like you don't have an argument for why God is real.
So, how do you think rainbows pop up in the sky?
I think that there's like a natural. I think that there's like a naturalistic explanation that that light exists via like the light spectrum, and that the light spectrum is why rainbows exist, because that's just the way it looks after it rains or whatever.
That's the way it looks. See, you don't realize that your arguments they're cheesy, to say the least. You know what I get out of your live streams? You just act like you're the boss. You're sipping your drink, and you just don't give off good vibes.
All right. I'm sorry to hear that I'm not giving off good vibes, but make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's go to a guest who actually has like substantive things to say. Make sure you drop a follow if you're enjoying the debate so you never miss a single debate in the future. You should also consider joining the Discord, link in bio. It's a great place. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy. We do voice chats all of the time. Thanks so much for the gifts. I really appreciate it. So yeah, again, we do voice chats literally all of the time. It's a very active server. I'm very active in the server. I've been told the link doesn't work, so you might need to access it via a web browser. So to do that, you would just go into my TikTok account, allegedly Ian, and you would click the link in my bio in order to join the Discord. And I also, if you want like a personal reason to join, I direct at every single person every single time that I go live. So you'll never miss a live because you'll always be notified. And with that, we will go to the next guest. But make sure you keep on double tapping on that screen. Let's get to
Oh man, I must be
let's get to
special.
50K. Make sure you drop a comment, share with your friends as well. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Ian, what are you doing with this theology, man? I didn't know you were a theist.
No, I'm an atheist, as is indicated by my.
I don't think you're an atheist. I think you believe in God more than Christians do.
No, I think I don't actually, because I think that
Okay.
God isn't real.
Okay,
Whereas
great.
you think that God is real.
I don't think God is real, but I do know he exists. Yeah.
So you don't think he's real, but you think that he exists.
No, I do know he exists. Yeah, absolutely.
So you know he exists, but you don't think he's real.
No, I'm saying that I'm not making the claim that he's real, but I know he exists. Like I believe in him. But
What does real mean?
real, physical, like I can touch it, I can smell
No,
it,
I think that there's like
can
things that are
sense
real
it.
that you can't touch.
Like what?
So you can't touch love, but love is real.
You can't touch love?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
According to who? You can't touch
Go,
love?
go and bring me like a love right now. Bring me
I
something
can-
like a physical, tangible love that I can touch.
Yeah.
It's a thing that we feel as a result of our like neurochemistry. It's not something that we can physically touch. It's not tangible.
Yeah, but you got five senses when it comes to like knowing things are real or not knowing things
Wait,
are real.
are you driving? It's against TikTok TOS if you're driving.
No, yeah, I'm on my 10-hour break, so
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, so you can. I think there's five senses to in order to prove something is real. You can sense it, you can feel it, you can taste it, right? What's the other ones? There's three more that I'm missing.
No, I think that so there's actually a lot more senses than that. Like humans have like a sense of time, for example. But I specifically what I'm looking for, which God would you believe exists?
No, I said I believe a God exists. I don't believe in any specific God.
So you don't have like a specific religion?
No. That's why I said I believe a God is real. I don't want to say I believe he's real because I haven't seen him with my own eyes, but I believe he exists.
Okay, so what proof do you have that God exists?
It's not my job to show you that he exists. I'm not the one saying he's not real.
But you're okay, sure. So I can explain to you why I think
Sure.
that God isn't real if you're interested.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think that naturalism is always going to be a preferable worldview to supernaturalism. And let me define those terms. So naturalism is just the view that all causes and entities are natural in nature, that there's nothing supernatural, whereas supernaturalism believes that there's natural things and there's also supernatural things. God is a supernatural thing, and there's no evidence for the existence of supernaturalism. There's no reason to accept imaginary friends in my worldview because there's nothing that I struggle to explain under naturalism that supernaturalists don't also struggle to explain. There is literally no reason to believe in supernaturalism or supernatural entities in the first place, which is why I've decided that I'm just not going to.
Wait, so why are you allowed to say there is no reason to believe in X? Like there's no reason to believe in supernaturalism because you don't trust it or you just don't believe in it?
Yeah, so I think that the reason is because it's a lot simpler. The explanation itself, if it's Occam's razor. If everything else is equal, if all the explanations for everything else is just going to be equal, then why wouldn't I prefer naturalism to supernaturalism?
But that doesn't prove that God isn't real by saying you
But the
just don't
entailment of
believe in it.
naturalism is that God isn't real.
Yeah, but that doesn't prove God isn't real. Like what evidence is there in that theory alone that God is not real? Like he does
So
not
because
exist?
God is a supernatural entity and naturalism does not permit supernatural entities. So we can't
says
have
that
a
he's
world, we
supernatural?
can't have a world that is all natural causes and like natural causes, natural effects, natural whatever, and also includes the existence of a supernatural God.
You think all of our causes in this world are natural?
I
You don't
do.
think anything's supernatural?
I don't believe in anything supernatural. That's correct.
Okay, interesting. So again, like I don't hear any evidence for the fact that God is not real. All I hear is just an opinion.
So the evidence is that there's, first of all, naturalism is just a preferable worldview to supernaturalism based off of pretty basic, like merits of theory. So let's say that we have 10 bad Mondays in a row. We can either say that, damn, like things must just be going wrong, or maybe it's just a coincidence. Or we could say, maybe it's like the Bad Monday Fairy. Maybe the Bad Monday Fairy exists. It's an entity, and the Bad Monday Fairy is just fucking with me. One of these explanations
saying that good
one of
Mondays
these
don't
explanations is naturalistic, and it's all things considered pretty simple, whereas one of these explanations is radically unsimple. I'm going to prefer, all else equal, I'm going to prefer the explanation that is simpler.
Ian, are you saying that good Mondays don't exist? That all you will
That's not what I
experience is
said
10
at all.
bad
I'm
Mondays?
saying that in this hypothetical scenario, let's
I know,
imagine
but I'm
that we
challenging your opinion, right? That
let's
10
let's
bad Mondays
imagine that
will
we have
exist.
10 bad Mondays in a row. 10 bad Mondays in a row. Now, we can either say this is because of the Bad Monday Fairy, or we can say it's just a coincidence, or perhaps there's like a natural cause for why we've had 10 bad Mondays in a row. I'm going to prefer the simpler explanation, and I'm going to prefer the natural explanation before I start appealing to supernatural explanations.
And what would the natural explanation be for 10 bad Mondays in a row?
Maybe something happened like 10 Mondays ago. Like maybe you got a new boss and the new boss is terrible. Maybe that's why you're having 10 bad Mondays in a row.
If anybody wants to be logical, you know that 10 bad Mondays don't go in a row. It's usually Monday through Sunday, correct? So to have 10
No, but
bad
we're saying
days,
like if you
10
just look
bad
at, like,
Mondays in a
strictly-
row,
you're just misunderstanding what I'm saying.
No, I'm not
if you look
misunderstanding. I'm
at-
challenging your
in this
opinion.
hypothetical, you're looking at like just the Mondays themselves.
Okay,
you
so
look at like the first Monday and it's bad. You look at the second Monday and it's bad. Third Monday it's bad. Fourth Monday it's bad, et cetera, up until 10 bad Mondays. That's what
Ian,
I'm saying. I'm not saying
Ian.
that I'm not saying anything about like the other days of the week. Just that like, wow, what a coincidence! 10 bad Mondays in a row.
Ian, if I have 10 bad Mondays in a row and somebody else next to me who works next to me has 10 good Mondays in a row, isn't it just my perception that I had 10 bad Mondays in a row?
No, because they actually are bad Mondays, because it's your perception, because you're the one who's perceiving whether the Monday is bad. So sure, I
Right.
suppose you could say that it is your
Yeah.
perception, but the fact of the matter is that you still perceived it to be that way in the first place.
Right. It's my perception, just like it's your perception that God isn't real, and you can't
Wait,
prove
this
that
is
he's
like a
not
huge
real.
pivot. This gets away from the point of the analogy. So the point of the bad Monday analogy.
Well, I've heard you
is
use this 10
specifically-
bad
it's
Monday
specific-
theory, so
Wait, but
I've
can you
heard you
can you
use this
tell me what
before.
conclusion I draw from that analogy?
is that you cannot prove that God doesn't exist just because I say he does, right?
No.
Like you want to sit there and use the 10 bad Monday theory to show an example of why he cannot exist.
So I'll say
It's
I'll
just
say the
because my
conclusion.
perception.
I'll say the
just
conclusion a
because-
little bit
hold
more
on, Ian,
explicit, because I
Ian,
can tell that you can't tell what it
Ian,
is.
Can you give me a fair amount of time to just respond? For
Because
30
you're
seconds
just
more?
I will let you respond, but I need you to actually understand the things that I'm saying. Like, you're not responding to what I'm saying, and it seems like you just fundamentally don't understand the
I
point
can't
I'm trying
even
to make.
challenge your 10 bad Monday theory. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
because you
your
don't
opinion.
understand what the point of it is. Like, you're just like using like little rhetorical flourishes that have no logical basis to them. That
No
well, it's just your
logical basis
perception.
for a
It's just your
hypothetical?
perception that you had 10 bad Mondays, and it's also just your perception that God doesn't exist. Like, this is just
Ian,
not the
what's-
point of my analogy.
Ian, can you prove scientifically that a bad Monday exists?
No, because it's going to be subjective.
Okay, so it is your perception. It's nothing
Yes,
physical.
correct. I agree with this.
Okay, so what does me challenging your perception on a 10 bad Monday theory have to do with God not existing?
Yeah, because okay, that's a really great question. So the point of the bad Monday fairy, the point of asking, like, if we had 10 bad Mondays in a row, would we start positing the existence of the bad Monday fairy, is to point out that we wouldn't do that. Like, we wouldn't posit the existence of the bad Monday fairy because it's an unsimple explanation. Why would we appeal to these like hobbits and snarks and fairies when we could pivot, or not pivot, we could appeal to real things, like tangible things that actually happen, things that have a natural basis and a natural cause for them.
So give me something real and tangible that God is not real. Like, give me something tangible that he is not real.
You're just not tracking the conversation. So the reason why I don't believe in God is
Ian.
because naturalism is a simpler
You
theory.
can't give me no tangible evidence showing
Yes,
he's not real.
yes. So on all of the available evidence, we could go through all of the evidence for why a God might exist, or the existence of supernatural anything. There is no evidence that anything supernatural exists, and I'm not going to posit the existence of a thing that I have no evidence for its existence. The default presumption is non-existence.
It's not a presumption when you're making the claim that he is not real. Your background says God is not real. So
Yes.
you make that claim. So you have
Yes.
evidence, tangible evidence,
Because the
that he is not
default
real.
assumption is going to be that a certain category of thing doesn't exist. The presumption flips to the affirmative, that we say that it
okay.
is your
So you can make a
affirmative
negative with
burden.
no tangible evidence.
It is your affirmative burden to prove the existence of God. The default position is that God isn't real. If I asked you whether or not you believe that there's like a ghost currently stroking his shit in the corner of your room who's going to blow up the entire universe if you repeat the like Addams Family theme song a million times in a row, you'd probably say no. I don't believe that there is a ghost in the corner of my room stroking his shit who's going to blow up the entire universe.
I love your
if I say
exaggerated
the Addams Family
hypotheticals,
theme
Ian.
song a million times in a row.
Come on, man. Come on. You can do better with these hypotheticals.
Yeah, wait, so okay, then I'll just ask you straight up. So, do you think that there's a ghost
I
in the
want
corner of your
evidence.
room? Do you think there's a ghost in the corner of your room stroking his shit who's going to blow up the entire universe if you meet the conditions?
Would this be considered a pivot when I ask for tangible evidence that God is not real and you cannot prove?
Yeah, I'm
any
no, so I'm
evidence
giving
that
you
God is
it's
real?
not a pivot because I'm giving you an analogy.
It is a pivot.
I'm giving you
You haven't even
analogy.
given me one example that he's
I'm
not real.
giving you an analogy for why he's not real, for why the default assumption, so the argument for why God isn't real is that God isn't real because the default assumption is going to be that he's not real, and we have no evidence, you've provided no argument for why he is real. So, and I'm explaining to you why
You
the
can't
default,
compare between two things
I
and
need
say
to
he's not real,
finish,
Ian.
wait, I need to finish the explanation. So the default assumption, the default presumption for why God isn't real is going to be analogous. Like, I don't think God is real for the same reason I don't think that there's a ghost in the corner of my room doing whatever. Do you think that there's a ghost in the corner of your room doing whatever?
Can ghosts heal the sick?
I'm just asking you if there's. So do you
If
think
you're
that there's
gonna
a? Do you
compare-
believe that
if you're
there's a
gonna compare-
ghost? Do you
Ian.
believe that there is a ghost in the corner of your
Ian,
room right now?
if I'm gonna believe
stroking
this-
his shit, who's going to
If I'm
destroy
going to believe
the
a
entire
ghost
universe?
is stroking his shit hypothetically to be a comparable situation with a god, if this is how low we're
Wait,
going
I
to
just want to. It's a yes. Wait, it's a yes or no,
No, but
question.
it's not a yes or no, Ian. Because
wait.
my
So no, it
question was a
actually
yes
is.
or
So the
no.
answers are either yes, I do believe that there's a ghost in the corner of
No,
my room.
it's not a yes or no.
Or no, I don't believe that there's a ghost in the corner of my room.
Ian, how's that
Wait,
comparable? A yes or no?
what are the other answers to it? It's either
Wait,
yes,
Ian,
I do believe there's
yes,
a ghost
exactly.
in the corner of my
So-
room,
so why
or no,
could
I
you-
do
why
not believe
could you
there's a
not-
ghost in the corner of
Ian,
my room.
Ian, why
It
could you
is
not
a yes or
answer
no
yes?
question. You're
could
just not
prove-
tracking.
Ian, you say I'm not tracking, but yet you just went on a 3-minute rant about a ghost stroking his shit and
Yeah.
hypothetically blowing up the world.
Yeah. And do you believe in the existence
So
of that
how
ghost?
am I not the one tracking?
Do you
What
wait?
was
Do
the
you
question
believe?
I
Do you
asked
believe in
you?
the? So yes or no? Do you believe in the existence of that ghost?
Ian, what was the question I asked
Do you believe? Do you believe in the existence of the ghost? The question you asked is for evidence or proof for the
Yes.
non-existence of God, and I'm asking
so
you.
how
Do
is
you
this
believe?
evidence?
I'm asking you. Do you believe? It's a yes or
can't
no
ask
question.
me.
Do you believe?
Okay.
Do you believe in
can't
the
demand
existence of the
me-
ghost in the corner of your room?
Ian, you want to demand me to
Do
give an
you
answer.
believe? It's. I need you. I genuinely need you to just give a yes or no answer.
And I genuinely need you to just show me evidence, tangible evidence.
Yeah.
that God is
Wait.
not real.
I am. That's like what I'm doing right now.
No,
but I
a
need you
comparable
to.
is not tangible evidence.
My dude. That's what I'm doing right now. Right
Okay,
this
so-
second.
so
I'm
tell me
showing
how
you the
comparable
tangible
is
evidence.
tangible
You just don't want to
evidence.
receive it.
I can't touch a ghost. I can't
Yeah, but
know
I'm
that a
asking you:
ghost
do you
exists.
believe in the existence of a ghost? The existence of the ghost
Believing
described.
is not tangible evidence.
Do you
Ian.
believe? Do you believe? Yes or no in the existence of a ghost described?
So you can't show me no
Okay,
tangible
so
evidence.
you're
that
not
God
answering the
doesn't
question.
exist.
So here's what we'll do. So let's do like a test first. Rice or beans? 3, 2, 1.
beans.
Perfect. Is the ghost
What's your answer,
described?
Ian? Is it rice
does
or
the ghost
beans?
described exist? 3, 2, 1.
Ian, rice or beans?
Rice.
Okay. Is rice tangible? Can you touch it?
Yeah,
Yes,
you sure
touch
can.
it, right?
Wait, but
okay,
this
so
is
can I
wait.
touch a ghost?
You're just trying to like desperately like latch on to like any
Ian,
of the
you
words
can't
that I'm
even
saying.
answer my question directly. It's either directly or indirectly. And right now, what you're doing is pulling a hypothetical with an analogy that does not exist in real life.
Okay, so I will give you the baseline premises, and you can tell me which of these premises you disagree with. So the first premise is going to be that we default to the presumption of non-existence in the absence of evidence. The second premise is going to be that there is no evidence for the existence of a God, and then the conclusion is going to be we default to the presumption that God isn't real. That's the argument.
It's not a default assumption or presumption that God is not real without no actual tangible evidence. Like you can't say God is not real, I have evidence, and have no tangible evidence.
No, so I'm saying that in the absence of evidence, we default to the presumption that something
No.
does not exist.
According to who? According to who?
No,
Name
this
the
is just going to be logical. According
I know,
this,
okay,
and
so
this is
name the
exactly where
logical
this is
philosopher
exactly
that
where the
agrees
ghost
on that.
scenario. This is where the ghost analogy, the ghost hypothetical, comes into play. Because in fact, and this is why you refuse to answer the hypothetical. It's because you know it proves my point. This ghost, you don't believe in the existence of this ghost.
As intelligent as you are, I would have thought you would have had the evidence already, Ian. Come on.
Wait, my dude,
Come on,
I just
man.
gave you the argument.
You gave me an argument for a hypothetical that you know that
No.
ghosts don't
The
exist. You don't believe in
hypothetical is at
ghosts.
a
Do you believe
lower
in
layer
ghosts?
of the argument.
Do you believe in
So
ghosts?
the highest layer of the argument is the argument itself.
It's a yes or no. Do you
This
believe
is
in ghosts?
the ghost hypothetical is proof for one of the premises. The premise
Okay,
specifically.
do
that
you believe in
reject.
ghosts?
I
Yes or
don't
no?
believe in ghosts.
Okay,
no.
so you're using something you don't even believe in as a
Yes,
hypothetical.
yes, exactly,
so poor.
precisely,
Ian, come
precisely,
on.
because the
That's so
conclusion,
poor.
Wait, do you believe in
So
ghosts?
it's not tangible to you
Do
because you don't even believe in
wait,
ghosts.
do you believe in
Sure,
ghosts?
I think ghosts exist, yes.
Okay, so do you believe specifically that there's a ghost in the corner of your room who's going to blow up the entire world?
No, that's in your imagination. That's your
Yes,
perception.
perfect. Yes, and wait. So
Okay.
why
Yes,
don't
perfect. So show
why
me
do you
tangible
not
evidence.
why do you not believe in that ghost?
Why do I not believe in that ghost? Because it's your perception that that's what that ghost will do.
No,
is
but I don't
blow up
actually.
the world.
Wait, so I don't perceive that, and you don't perceive that. But why
Yeah,
do we
that's
not
what you're
perceive
telling
it?
me
Like,
it will
why?
do.
Why do we not believe that
Wait,
that
how do
ghost
you know
actually
the ghost is going to
exists?
blow up something?
Why do we not believe that ghost
How do
actually
you
exists?
know the ghost is going to blow up something, Ian? If you don't,
No,
believe
I'm.
it?
Wait. I'm not. Because I'm not actually claiming that this ghost exists. I'm just asking you if
But
you
you're
believe
claiming
in the
that he's gonna
existence of
blow
the.
up something.
I'm asking you. if you believe in the existence of this ghost with the specified properties.
Right, the specified properties that you don't even believe in.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I don't believe in it, and neither should you.
Yep.
That's the point of the
Wait,
hypothetical.
why should
like, it
why
seems
should
like
I
you're
not
just not
believe in
tracking
something?
it.
Why should I not believe in something just because you don't think it's true?
Oh, so because the default presumption is going to be that you don't believe in something in the absence of evidence.
It can't be just an absolute without no tangible evidence. Yours is a hypothetical that you don't
so
even
you
believe
specifically
in.
claimed that God does exist. So what's your evidence that God does exist?
No, I
If you
said I
give
think
me,
he-
if
I
you
think
give
he
me
does
evidence
exist.
that God does exist, then I'd be happy to change my
I never
view on
made
this.
the claim. I never made the claim that he does exist. I think he exists. I think he is real. But I don't have
so
any.
you never made the
I
claim
don't-
that he
I don't
exists,
have
but
any,
you think he exists and you think he's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, I think he does exist.
Okay,
yeah,
wait. So,
absolutely.
so
But I'm
you
not
both
gonna
made
say
the claim
without-
and didn't make the claim
I'm
that
not
he
gonna say.
exists.
I'm not gonna make the claim, Ian, that he is not real, and have no evidence to support my claim that he is not real.
Okay,
I'm not
cool.
gonna
Wait,
tell you.
so,
I'm
so
not gonna
you just
tell
made
you
the
just
claim.
because
So
Santa.
you just made the
Ian,
claim that
I'm
he
not
does
gonna tell you.
exist. So you just made the claim
I believe.
that
Yes,
he does
I believe that he
exist.
does
So what's
exist.
your
I believe-
evidence? What is your evidence for the fact that he does exist?
No, you can't. You can't ask me my evidence for the fact that he does exist when you have no evidence the fact that he does not exist.
Because the presumption is on you. The burden of proof to
it's
prove that
not.
God
Your-
does
your
exist is
claim
on you.
is he does not
You're
exist,
the one
Ian.
making the affirmative claim.
Nope, I'm not making the affirmative
Well,
claim.
so
Ian,
why
you
should we
asked me a
default to the
question
assumption that God exists?
Because in your background it says God isn't real. So you
But
have.
why
100
should we default
you
to the
have-
assumption that God does exist?
It's not a default assumption when you are saying with your own mouth that he
James,
does
thanks
not
so much for the
exist.
subscription, and whoever gifted me 5 subs earlier, thanks, I super appreciate it. Sorry I didn't mention the sub gift before, but
The burden of proof is not on me, Ian. Come on.
it literally is. Wait, so do you
It
think
really
that
isn't.
if I said that there's like the ghost as described, if I made the affirmative claim that that ghost exists, would the burden be on you to disprove the existence of the ghost, or on me to prove the existence of the ghost?
The burden of proof is on you saying that the ghost exists. That's
And
on
the
you.
burden of proof is on you saying God exists.
No, it's not. I didn't say God exists. I believe he exists, but I'm not saying he's 100% real.
So why do you believe that God exists?
That's not a question nobody can answer.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm probably just going to move on to a theist who can answer,
Sure.
but I do appreciate you coming on up here. Make sure you double tap on that screen. Let's get to 80K likes. Make sure you're dropping a follow as well, so you never miss a live like that in the future. Share it with your friends. Drop a comment as well. Consider joining the Discord. There's a link to it in my bio. I would love to see you there. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy, really whatever you want to talk about. Server is super active. I'm very active in the server. And I also direct at every single person, every single time that I go live. I would love to see you. Thanks so much for all the gifts, all of you. And if I miss someone's gift, I apologize for that. I do get really focused on the debates though. But consider joining the Discord. I've been told that the link doesn't work. So you need to access it via a web browser. You can't access it via your phone. But you would do that by just going on to tiktok.com and going to allegedly.ian and then clicking the link that way. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. How old are you?
19.
And do you think God is real?
Actually, yes, but not the God that everyone thinks about. I mean, I do not believe in I'm not a religious person. I do not believe in any religion.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm probably like just looking for people who believe in like a specific like religious conception of a God. Otherwise, I think the debates get like pretty boring. I don't really enjoy the debates against people's like own personal God that they like made up themselves. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
What's up?
Oh, you got to be 18 or older in order to join. I can't have people who are younger than 18, otherwise the live will get taken down. Hey,
Yo,
what's up?
suck my dick, bitch.
Hey, that's very very Christian of you. Orthodox too. Bro, most loving Christian. Most creative Christian as well. Wow, I've never heard that insult before. All right, let's see if we can't get... Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Cristianismo de tu parte. Malcriado, pues. Eso no
Hello,
está
are you
bien.
there?
O sea, si no está opinando como tú, si no piensas.
Okay. Make sure you double tap it on that screen while we wait for more guests. Sorry about this. TikTok has been really hard for like trying to find guests. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
What's going on? How you doing, Ian?
Doing good, doing good. How old are you?
39.
And do you think God is real?
I think there is a God.
So you think that God is real?
Yes, but I think we both don't know for sure how to make that a reality.
I mean, I don't think God is real, but what I guess like what I'm wondering, what religion do you follow?
I was Catholic growing up, but I kind of fell off of that.
So do you believe in the Christian God? Thanks so much for the cap. I appreciate it. But do you believe in
I mean, I know there's a higher power. I know that we have something out there. There's got to be. There's no way there can't be.
Thanks so much for the hat and mustache. I appreciate it. But so do you think that there's, do you think that it's like the Christian God, or what God specifically do you believe in?
I don't think that us as humans have an idea. I don't think we can grasp it because I don't think we're educated enough. But I have
So what's your proof for the existence of a God?
I have a theory that there is or isn't one. I can prove there is or isn't one.
That there either is or isn't one?
Like that we both don't know. That you don't know if he's not real, and I don't know if he's real, or vice versa.
I think I'm just completely lost. Wait, can you explain this in like a simpler way? I'm just not understanding the things that you're saying.
If you draw a circle, right, and you shade in how much information you know in the universe, how much of it would you shade in?
Probably pretty little.
Like a dot, right? I would probably put a dot. So the rest of it will be the unknown, correct?
Sure.
So we both don't know.
No, but we do know, because depending on the god, so I'm atheistic towards specific gods, and then I'm going to be agnostic towards others. So towards like the Christian God, or like the Catholic God specifically, I'm going to be an unbeliever. I know that this God doesn't exist because I can find logical contradictions in the properties of this God, that it's not possible for this God to be all good, and also that we exist in the world that we currently exist in.
But what if it is with all that information you didn't shade in?
Because the other information that I didn't shade in would need to include things like it's actually okay to have a completely logically contradictory thing. That this is like saying like, well, so do you think that the sun both exists and doesn't exist?
The sun?
Yeah.
I mean, no, because we can see it. We don't know. We probably don't know everything in the dynamics of it, but we definitely can see it.
So do you think that within your dot exists like the existence of the sun?
My what?
Do you think in your like dot of knowledge, like within your circle of knowledge, one of the things that you know is that the sun exists?
We see it, we can feel it, but there might be parameters of it we don't know.
Oh, so you would actually say that you don't know whether the sun exists?
I would say that we don't know everything about it like we think we do.
But do you know whether or not it exists is the question.
In my perception, I would say yes. In your perception, you would say yes, but we might not have the right perception to know all.
Yeah, sure. So I think that this just leads to like universal skepticism. The idea that, well, actually, I don't know if I know anything at all, or, because of the simple fact that within the extra knowledge, the things that I don't know, it could come out that I'm actually completely wrong about all of it. Like and this is true, but this just leads to like skepticism and like solipsism. It leads to like, well, I mean, I actually don't know, because tomorrow we could all wake up from like a simulation and it turns out none of the things that I knew were real. Like, I think that it just leads to like an unproductive worldview.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can see that, but at the same time, you can't, cancel out the fact of the unknown, and you didn't shade in a lot of the unknown. So to make a claim God isn't real, you're really just making your own opinion on it. You're not really. Yeah.
So all I need to do to come to the conclusion that God isn't real is just like accept the existence of like logic, for example. And then from this like logical framework, I can logically deduce that an all good God couldn't exist, or that like an all powerful God couldn't exist, or that a God with free will and omniscience couldn't exist. Like any one of many contradictions between the properties of God and who God is as a person.
Yeah, you can make a logical opinion off of it, but remember, there might be some logic you're missing because you don't know that information that's on the unshaded part of that circle.
Wait, so what information about like logic are we missing?
We don't know because it's all unshaded. We don't know that information.
I think that I'm probably going to move on to the next guest, because I do think that this is just like going in circles a little bit, and it's also like low key boring. But this is like the again, please only join if you have like a specific conception of a specific God, like a specific belief in a God who has like lore. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen as well. Let's get to 10K likes, and with that, we'll go to the next guest. Hey, how's it going? How old are you?
33.
And do you think God is real?
I do, and I have a question that. Okay, how do you think we came like to be like out of the water or like what?
Yeah, so there's like the intellectually honest answer is that we don't know. We have many theories, but we don't know for sure. And it's possible that we never will know. But
Okay.
there's like a large amount of evidence for one like current leading hypothesis.
What stage of our life do you think that we started at? Like,
I
did
think
we start out as
oh
babies?
yes. Well, this is something that we know almost certainly for sure. We started as single-celled organisms. We
I
started
know, but
as
we had to like form into.
prokaryotes. Yeah.
But like how if there was a bunch of babies, they can't take care of each other, right?
Well, we
So,
started
I mean,
off as single-celled organisms. The single-celled
Okay.
organisms aren't babies.
Okay.
So we evolved. So
I just think it's something
A
unexplainable.
cell is extremely small. Wait, so how many cells are in the human body?
Maybe I don't know about
Yeah, so
organisms.
within the human body, there's like 37.2 trillion cells. We're comprised
Yeah.
of these like little cells that all function in like a very specific way. We started off like at the very first life started off as just one cell.
Yeah, I understand that part.
Yep.
Like this is a serious question. I want to understand. Like, so.
Oh, sure. So, from the existence of the first cell, we underwent a process called evolution. The things that were good at surviving and good at reproducing survived and reproduced. They passed their genetic traits on to others to make things that were even better at surviving and better at reproducing. And new traits popped up via radiation, which caused genetic mutations. Random traits would evolve and change, and it was because of random genetic mutations. These traits could either be better at helping people survive and reproduce or worse at helping people survive and
Okay.
reproduce, or like so the traits that are selected for are going to be the traits that are good at helping people survive and reproduce. And it happened we evolved for a very long time,
Yeah.
and eventually we became multicellular organisms because there's lots of advantages to being a multicellular organism, although there are still drawbacks, which is why single-celled organisms still do exist. And then from these multicellular organisms, we evolved into complex organisms, much bigger, and eventually we moved onto land, or some of our
Okay.
ancestors moved onto the land. They evolved into a wide variety of things. One of the things is mammals, and then from mammals, eventually evolved humans.
I kind of understand like that part, but I'm saying like, did we just like skip like being like a newborn and like we just like started as an adult at first and then we started having babies, or like
No.
how did we get past that stage?
Yeah, so the way that it
Because
works, like the way that different speciation works,
babies
because
can't take care of
as-
themselves.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean-
no, I agree with that. Yeah, so the first human baby was birthed by something that we would not consider human. The thing that came before us is like directly before us, I believe, is the Homo erectus.
But even then,
the
I mean, how
Homo
did
erectus
anything-
evolved into the Homo sapien over like a long period of time, and there was at some point we had to draw the line that this is like now a different species, and the thing before that line, the thing that birthed the different species, would have been a Homo erectus, but the thing being birthed would have been the Homo sapien.
Okay, I'm still.
So the very
Even
first
if we
human
started out as
was
that,
started as a
like, how
baby.
can
They were
we-
birthed as a baby, but they were raised by a Homo erectus that was very human-like.
So it would start out not being able to walk and like fend for itself. So
Yeah, as
that's
babies
the
do.
part that I'm not getting.
Yep.
I mean, and it's got to be like another, like something else created. That's why I think there's something more to everything. I mean, because everything is made so perfectly. I mean, for everything. I don't know.
No.
I might not believe every story in the Bible, because some of it is like a stretch, like the guy getting swallowed by the whale. Like maybe that didn't happen. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, so there's like four things that I think point to the existence of a world that's not very well designed for us. The first is just that like several extinction events have happened. 99.9% of species have gone extinct throughout the history of the Earth. The second is that the Earth is primarily covered in salt water, a thing that we can't drink. We will literally die if we drink too much salt water.
True.
And while we can like currently process it right now, it's not something that like it's not ideal. Like ideally it wouldn't be salt water, it'd be fresh water. There's also the existence of like earthquakes, for example, which take the lives of like 60,000 people a year for literally no reason. God could have just made the earth in such a way where it didn't do that. And finally, there's the sun, which gives people skin cancer.
Well, I think like disease and stuff like that, I think that came more from the people after, like he didn't create it like that. I mean, I think that came like just like pollution and stuff. I mean, we're messing it up by doing stuff, you know?
Really account for cancer either, because we know that cancer existed for like long before the existence of pollution, for example. Oh, the guest left. Okay. Well, make sure you double tap it on that screen. Let's get to 110K likes. Make sure you're sharing it with your friend. Drop a follow as well if you never want to miss a live like this in the future. You can also consider joining the Discord, link in bio. I would absolutely love to see you there. And with that, we will go to the next guest. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Jonas? Okay. Damn, it's always such a struggle to find people. All right. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yo, I'm good, G. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. How old are you?
18.
Mm-hmm. And what year were you born?
2005.
Okay. So, do you believe in God?
I do, yeah. If you can tell by the profile picture.
Yeah. I assumed. Maybe it's ironic. So do you have proof for the existence of the Christian religion as being true, or like an argument for why Christianity is true?
I don't think I can give you 100% proof in the same way you can give me 100% proof that there's not a God. I mean, that's just how it works. There's no such thing as 100% proof of anything, is there?
I think there is. I think that if you deduce something that, for example, if you and I accept that an unmarried man is a bachelor, that a bachelor is an unmarried man, and we know that Jerry is a bachelor, then there is 100% proof that Jerry is unmarried.
Okay, but he could be lying, he could be keeping secrets and that.
No, but we're presupposing that Jerry is a bachelor. So if we agree that Jerry is a bachelor, then there's 100% chance that we'll also agree that Jerry is unmarried.
Okay, well that's also just human, like, you know, scenarios and that. We're talking about like real life, you know, situations, events and that. Like
wait, but do you think that God exists outside of human logic?
Yeah, obviously.
Oh, well, then that's like much worse for your position.
The entire extent of God is in a mortal body.
So can God do contradictions?
No.
Oh, so it seems like God does exist within human logic.
That what? He can't contradict himself because he is himself. What?
Yeah, but I'm just asking, like, could he? Is it possible that he makes?
Understand certain things about it, doesn't mean that we understand everything.
Yeah, but could God make like a rock that's so heavy he can't lift it?
I've heard you say this before. In all fairness, I've never heard a good answer to it. I've never really thought about the question, but
I'll tell you. Wait, I'll tell you like directly. I can tell you what the good
like
answer is if you want, but no, I'll listen to your answer. Go for it.
I guess he could and he couldn't. You know, it's possible and it's impossible. It's beyond our logic and our understanding.
But then that just means that God is like contradictory.
No, it means it's beyond our logic and understanding.
Yeah, but our logic entails that like things can't be contradictory, and God would be contradictory.
I don't know about that one. I don't know.
So
about that.
would you say that God is illogical insofar as he doesn't follow rules of logic?
He creates the rules, so he is the rules of God.
So, okay, was there a point in time where God created the rule, or not a point in time, I'm sorry, like a point in causality where God created the rules of logic?
I'd assume so, yeah.
So before this point in causality where God created logic, could we have like logical contradictions? Like, is it possible for God to not be God, or for God to both exist and not exist before God established the rules of logic?
That's I don't know what to say to that, mate. It's just God, isn't it? It's like it's just that. He can't exist and not exist, can he?
Yeah, I'd say that he can't. But I mean, if there's like a point before God established the rules of causality, or no, I'm not causality, like the rules of logic, then you'd have to say that there's a point where God could have both existed and not existed because logic didn't exist yet.
Okay, I really don't understand what you're saying, to be honest.
Just that like there's contradictions that are necessary in the existence of a God.
Okay, but can you say that about the universe? How can it exist and not exist at the same time? You know.
No, because I would probably just say that the universe is eternal.
Well, I can say God is eternal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's on equal footing. So we have to look at like different evidence. Yeah.
So what was the point in that?
Yeah. So it's exactly okay. Yeah, because all else equal, we should be preferring the atheist worldview. That if there's no reason that we need, if there's no reason to prefer the existence of God, then we should probably just assume that he doesn't exist. So in the same way, and I gave this analogy a little bit earlier, in the same way, like you wouldn't assume that there's like a ghost in the corner of your room unless you had evidence that there was a ghost in the corner of your room. So I wouldn't accept that a God exists unless I've been given evidence that a God exists.
Okay, well, I'd like to touch on something before, but there is
go for it. Yeah. So what's your proof for like evidence?
Well, there's a lot of evidence in like the Bible, the historical accuracy,
so can you
Jesus
like
Christ
go through?
But, sorry,
can you go through like just one point about the Bible that you feel like very strongly about is evidence? I don't want you to read off like 20 different things where you're not able to substantiate any of them. Just one thing that you know the evidence for very well that you could point very clearly towards like the verse that this comes from, and like a reliable source for why the evidence actually happened. If you could point, like, just pick one thing from the Bible that you think proves the Bible to be correct, and let's talk about it.
Okay, I'll go back to that in 1 second. I just wanted to say, from what you just said a minute ago, you said in an atheist worldview. But what I'm saying to you is, in an atheist worldview where you believe nothing matters, why do you feel the necessity to create a live where where you express to people that their belief isn't true?
Oh, because I don't think nothing matters. Because that's not what atheism entails. I take an existentialist view. I think that we can create our own meaning, that that we exist and that we were born meaningless, but we fully have the capability to find meaning in the various activities we do throughout our lives. That I find meaning in doing these lives, for example, and reading more about philosophy, making really great friends, talking to people in the Discord, which all 1.6 thousand of you should definitely join. Things like that. I make meaning in many places in my life.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I'll get back to the original one now. What you asked about evidence, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say one of the most important evidence is the apostles, how they died, how historically none of them gave up their faith. Some of them were skinned alive, others were beheaded. They were all pretty much tortured and murdered. Didn't give up.
So, so what's your source that actually happened, though?
Well, it's a historical proof, isn't it?
Could you point me towards like the historical? Because I've genuinely tried to look into this before. I can't seem to find, and maybe it's just like I'm agnostic to this question. Maybe I just can't seem to find it, but it seems like there's no proof that the apostles were tortured to death.
Atheism. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, there was a beginning to all this. It's the reason why I bring up Einstein. Maybe he doesn't believe in the Christian God necessarily, but he believed in a God. That was my point, is that he believed in a God. As far as I'm aware, he changed from an atheist because he came into the knowledge that there was a beginning. And the popular belief at the time was that the universe was infinite, therefore there was infinite time for it to come about.
Yeah, I don't.
Here, I have a question about this. Wait, can I ask one question real quick? Yeah. So you said that the Bible's the most historically accurate.
Huh?
You said the Bible's the most historically accurate, right?
I said it's one of the most historically accurate pieces of literature. Yeah.
One of the most. Oh, do I have bad connection? What would be? Yeah. So I thought you said them. Okay. Oh,
No,
I was gonna say. Okay, so if it's one of the most, what qualifies that? Like, what standard do you use for evidence?
How
to
perfect,
determine that it's the most?
how exceptionally it was preserved throughout history. Many church fathers keeping copies that were distributed across the entire world. I hear a lot of people say it's been altered and changed, but I don't think that's actually physically possible, because how can you change handwritten words across the entire world that are constantly translated and changed?
Passed on word of mouth.
Sorry?
They were passed down word of mouth. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, by the way, I was just going inside so that I don't have a bad connection.
What was passed down by word? What you mean when the Bible was first made? The Jewish? No, they weren't Jewish. Well, it depends what we're talking about, Old Testament or New.
Okay, no. So like any, I'm talking about like a New Testament. You believe in Jesus, right? That's like the main part of the story. So you're gonna get that from like the New Testament. So my questions related to that are just gonna be like, how can you say it's the most one of the most historically reliable texts when it was passed on word of mouth? The first thing that we have from the New Testament comes from like 40, 50 years after Jesus, at least, given the most like conservative aspects from an atheist perspective. Like that's like us granting you so much. Okay, like when's P52 from? You know?
Yeah, but just because there's no, full-on book of it doesn't mean there's not, for one, notes, and two, memorized scripture that was passed down between many people. Back then, most people had to remember these sort of things completely in their mind.
Wait, so how do you know that the word of mouth was like preserved? Or I'm sorry, Parker, you can make your argument if you want.
No, you're good, but like he's just saying it's based upon our memory. We have better historical accuracy about us debating on TikTok. What are we talking about here? You're literally just saying it's based upon people's memory. That's like me saying, okay, based upon my memory, I remember seeing a UFO, right? And I'm not trolling. I actually literally have seen a UFO in my life. I can't explain it still to this day, but literally me concluding
why should I believe that?
Right, that's the same thing as what you just said.
But it's not, though. I said back then, I didn't say it was a memory issue. I said back then people had to be forced to remember these things because there wasn't as abundance of, technology that we have now to, preserve it. I mean, back then, apparently, is from what I've heard, people had the entire Bible memorized down to the last word, and they could recite, verses here and there.
Quran, one of the most historically accurate books.
No, because they all got burned at some point by, I forgot what his name was. Uthman.
No, wait, that's actually so funny. The Quran, listen, the Quran is an oral tradition, right? It is way better, right, in its lineage from the original text than the Bible is. Granted, it has its issues, right? It is way more reliable in that respect. So for you to act like it's less reliable, I think is funny, given that you base it on that standard.
600 years after and was spread by, and didn't have as many challenges as Christianity. The reason why people couldn't write it down is because they were being persecuted by Romans and Jews.
How many years did it come after Hinduism?
Well, it doesn't matter. Why would that matter?
Yes, it does. Wait, so your argument is that it's more reliable because it came sooner, but Hinduism or like Hellenism or like Buddhism came sooner than all of this.
To be preserved if it's 600 years later. We're talking about time scale here. That's completely not what I said at all. I didn't say it's more reliable because it came out, later. I said because it can be better preserved because it came out later.
Oh, wait,
okay,
so it sounds like so you're saying that it's better preserved?
Reliable. Yeah, him saying it's better preserved is saying it's more reliable because that's his argument for why it was more reliable. So he's speaking through words to try and confuse us right now.
It sounds like he just like said the opposite point. That it sounds like you're saying that the Quran is more reliable than
But
the
that's what you
Bible
just
because
said. That's
it came
literally
later
what
and
you
was
just
able
said.
to be preserved better.
That's what you just said, and I said, of course, something like that could be better preserved because it came 600 years later with 600 years better technology in a safer world environment.
So you're just agreeing?
Yeah,
Well, can I not agree?
You're welcome to, but that just means that your argument, like you just be like dunking on your own argument, which is fine if you want to like concede that the Bible is actually less reliable than the Quran.
No,
but
I'm
that is
saying
the conclusion of what you're saying, to be clear.
You're saying that it's easier to preserve the Quran. Of course it is. It was a much easier time to do it.
Yes,
Christians
we
were
agree.
being persecuted, killed. You know, their
Well,
only
he's not
choice was
understanding.
to keep it memorized.
He doesn't realize that he just conceded. When you're saying that it's one of the most historically reliable texts, but then you're like, oh, obviously the Quran is more reliable.
Also, can I ask why
not
this
one
is
of
a
the most.
2-on-1 now? That seems a bit mad. I thought we were having a 1-on-1 debate here.
No, it's okay.
I'll drop-
I do,
I'll drop.
you know,
just
I
wanted
do
to
what
make
I
that one
want.
point. I'm gonna drop. I just
I mean,
wanted to
you
make
can
that
do
one
what you
point.
want. I don't really care.
All right.
I'm just saying.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I'll see you later anyway. If you make another dumb point, I might join back.
Yeah. Thanks, Parker. I appreciate you. Yeah. Well, I mean that seems to be it seems like the conclusion that we would take from that is that the Quran is actually like a lot more reliable historically. But I think I actually want like a specific response because the contention that I was bringing up earlier is that it's not reliable because it uses metaphors all of the time. Like, would you describe the creation story in Genesis as being like literally true, like historically true?
It's a difficult one to say. As far as I was aware, it's written by Noah, inspired by the Holy Spirit. I personally, but I believe in the basis of it. You know, like the Bible isn't like the Quran where it was, you know, ascended from heaven, came down. You know, it is literally inspired by authors through the Holy Spirit, through historical events and that. But I think the main point is just that God created the heavens and the earth. And yes, I believe that. So yeah.
Yeah, but the physical facts in the creation story of Genesis are like wrong in basically every possible way. I'd specifically point out how in Genesis like 1:6 through 8, it describes it describes outer space as water. It says that God made sky, and above sky there was water. He separated the waters above the sky from the waters below the sky. And it's like that's not true at all. Like outer space is not in fact water. It says that stars are like fixed within the sky rather than being large entities like the sun that are very far away but are so large and bright that we're still able to see them despite this. Like in basically every physical fact it lists in the Genesis story, it's just wrong about them.
Yeah, no, I don't know necessarily if it can be taken literally. It is
Yeah. So then why should we take any part how do you know if any part of the Bible or the Torah, or I guess like just any part of the Bible, is being said metaphorically or is being said literally?
You'd have to ask a much better scholar than me. Well, no, I'm not even a scholar at all. I mean, like someone who understands, you know, better what is to be taken literally and what isn't. I mean, there's loads of sources for it, and you know, I look forward to finding them out. I am a decently new Christian, but I know.
So in my experience, it's been the things that aren't true, that are demonstrably untrue. These are just metaphors. Whereas the things that have not proven to be true or false and cannot be proven to be true or false, these are literal. These are all literal. We need to take all of these things literal. The metaphor is just like what it hides behind as soon as it's been proven to not be true. To preserve it as a book that people can still rely on, despite the fact that it's been like thoroughly disproven.
I feel like it really depends. Like Leviathan, for example. You know, a lot of people think that's literal. A lot of people think that's. Do you know Leviathan, by the way?
But
giant sea monster thing.
Oh yeah. I'm familiar with the concept of
A
Leviathan.
lot of people
yeah.
think that's metaphorical, like storms and stuff like that, and a lot of people think that's literal. Like there's a giant sea serpent in the ice in the Arctic and that. And I think points like that there is a lot of debate about, because it's talking in a way that's like, can you stop Leviathan? It can be interpreted both ways, I'd say.
Wait, so okay, and that's like totally cool. That's super fine or whatever. But insofar as it's not clear whether something is metaphorical or whether something is literal, then it seems like this was written in like just a poor way, that we have no reason to think that anything supernatural happened, because I can just say that the resurrection of Jesus is a metaphor for like the spreading of the word of Jesus's existence in the first place, that him turning water into wine is just a metaphor for the good things that Jesus can provide you, or like Jesus feeding all the soldiers with, or like whoever with the bread is just a metaphor for how like Jesus does, like he's capable of like nourishing you, that it's all metaphorical, that no miracle actually took place.
I think the only thing about that is the fact that it's the difference between authors, Old Testament authors. It's a very different time. That is very metaphorical. I don't think there's many metaphorical points in the New Testament.
Jesus talked in like tons of metaphors. Like
Oh, yeah,
Jesus
but
talked in
that's the way
metaphors
he
like
talked.
all of
I'm
the time.
talking about like when Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and that would actually like explain here. Jesus didn't say, I'm gonna give out this bread, and then it wasn't documented that he did.
So in John 6:35, Jesus says, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will never go hungry." Is Jesus made out of bread?
No.
Yeah. So it seems like the New Testament's used plenty of metaphors as well. So I'm just asking you, why would I take
I'm
the
saying the New
miracles to be
Testament
real rather than metaphorical?
Yeah, I'm saying that the events it describes are not metaphorical. Maybe the things he says.
Yeah, but it's just going to come back to a question of how do you know if the thing being described is literal or metaphorical?
Because in the New Testament, I don't believe anything that's, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John describe as happening is metaphorical. But, maybe what Jesus is saying it certainly is all mostly metaphor.
So if I could find metaphors in any of the Gospels, which by the way are still like unreliable, to be clear, but if I could find like metaphors in any of these, would you say that there's no evidence that any miracle actually happened?
No.
Oh, okay. So then we can just like skip this point entirely. So what's the evidence that these miracles? What's the evidence that these miracles actually happened at all?
I've really got to wrap this up, man. I've really got to go.
That's fine. Well, I mean, I appreciate you coming on up here. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 130K likes. Drop a follow as well if you're enjoying the debates. You should consider joining the Discord. It's a great place. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy, really whatever you want. And I'd love to see you there. Link in bio. You have to access it via a web browser in the first place, though, because the link doesn't work. And with that, we'll go to the next guest.
How you doing?
Doing good. Oh, wait,
I
there's
just
a
wanna
huge
say-
gas echo. Do you have like headphones?
Oh, is it echo? Okay, hold on. Let me fix it. Is it better now?
Let's see. No.
It's not? Frick. All right.
I'm gonna go to the next guest, but I do appreciate you coming on up here. Let's see. I'm trying to find. All right, but make sure you're double tapping on that screen, drop a follow, share with your friends, drop a comment as well. It's good for the health of the stream. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Zach? Okay. All right, we'll try this person again. Oh, I guess we won't try them again. That's fine. But make sure, again, drop a follow, share it with your friends. Sorry it's taken so long to find people. Hey, how's it going, Dustin?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Can you turn the music off in the background? Oh, you did. That's perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yep. How old are you?
I'm 34.
And do you think God is real?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just looking for people who think that God is real. But
I believe that there is a higher power. I can't really call him.
Oh, well, I'm just looking for people who believe that God is real. I appreciate you coming up, but please only join if you personally think that God is real. If you have a specific religion that you defend, if you're not driving currently, and if you're 18 or older. I can't bring you on if you're younger than 18. It'll get the entire live taken down. But make sure you don't stop double tapping on that screen. Hey, how's it going? What's up?
Catch it. Hey, pick up. Hey, can you hear me?
Wait, how old are you?
How do you think I am?
I don't know, but I'm asking you, how old are you?
I am 14, okay?
Oh, but you gotta be, I'm sorry, you gotta be like 18 or older. Yeah, it's TikTok's rules, not my rules. I'd love to, if you wanna, or actually, I mean, if you're 14, you can't even join the Discord, so I don't know. Come back in like 2 years.
Is it echoing now?
Yeah, it's still. Yep, sorry. Damn, it's hard. It's rough out here trying to find even like basic guests. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Doing good. How old are you?
I'm 19.
And do you think God is real?
Yeah, so as of right now, I would say that I'm a Christian, but I have gone through my stages. I was Muslim, I was atheist.
So
yeah.
do you have proof for why Christianity is true, or an argument for why your God specifically is real?
Well, okay, so before we even get into that, I gotta state, me personally, I think that Christianity is more so just a term than a religion. I think that people who believe in God or have a relationship with Jesus Christ doesn't technically mean that you're Christian. But to answer your question though, I think that historical text and reasoning for us being here, or why we're here, or how we're here, is all proof of a higher power, of a God.
Yeah. So, like, what's the actual argument going to be there? That why are these historical texts going to be proof? I mean, on face, this would seem like kind of a circular argument that these texts are all true because if you look at the texts, they're all true.
Right. So, I mean, I guess my first argument for God being real is, I guess you can say, when I'm looking around my house, right, I see that there's a microwave, there's stuff here. Everything inside my house is made. It's art. It's intelligently made, right? So, and nothing in the world is as complex as a human body, where you need a certain amount of chromosomes, where you need a certain amount of oxygen in blood, all these different things for you to survive and live. And I think that just the simple fact that we are living, and the fact that we are so complex, it's natural for somebody to, not natural for you to think, because I feel like you say it's naturally easy, or if you can't, God is not real. That's a natural thing, but I would disagree and think that just us being alive and how intelligent we are is, you would think there's a creator. There's no book without an author.
Yep. So there's going to be like a pretty large difference, a reason why we think. So the way we determine whether or not something was created is not by the complexity of the thing, but rather by what the thing is composed of. So a real life example of this, there was an artifact discovered in South America, and we not at any point in time did we assume that it could have just been there naturally. But the reason that we assumed this is because it was made out of materials that don't occur naturally. It was made out of things like copper, and it was made with things like gears. Copper doesn't exist on its own in nature. It's something that needs to be made via lots of processes. So for that reason, we would assume that because it doesn't occur in nature, it couldn't have occurred any way other than having someone make it. And gears don't grow on trees. They don't assemble themselves into these types of things on their own. We have no evidence that gears are. Maybe it wasn't copper. It might have not been copper. It was what's the one that's it might have been bronze. No, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it was bronze, not copper. Sorry. Yep. So regardless, we knew that it wasn't a thing that occurred in nature because it was made out of bronze, and bronze doesn't occur in nature. And it had gears. Gears don't grow on trees. They don't assemble themselves into these formations on their own. But however, we have no reason to think that there's like anything, any part of life or about nature that doesn't occur in nature pretty trivially.
So you're saying that there can be stuff, well, I'm just trying to understand you. There can be stuff that's made from nothing is what you're trying to tell me.
No. So I would probably just say that the universe in whatever way could be eternal in the same way that God can be eternal. That if you think God is eternal, then I would just say that the universe is eternal.
Right. So the universe being eternal, you mean like it's been around forever?
Yeah.
So
Just that
is
there's
that
like
what
no
you believe?
reason why the universe couldn't stretch back into like all of previous infinity.
So is that what you would believe, that the earth is eternal? Is that
No, not the Earth, the universe. So the
universe.
Earth itself came from as a result of the Big Bang and the rapid expansion of the universe through the formation of our specific Earth's core and its location into the solar system and falling into the gravitational orbit of the sun.
Okay. So my argument, I don't really know where that puts us, but same thing. I just think that even, let's say with the universe, is even more complex than, like you said, like the earth. It's different. That's also something that, to an extent, you would want to believe that it had to be formed. It can't. Nothing doesn't come from nothing. Is my whole argument. So you
Yeah,
can't
wait,
make
I
something
agree,
out
but
of
I would just say that I'd say that the universe as we know it came from the Big Bang, and then there's a lot of physical explanations for how the Big Bang came about that don't rely on saying that something just like popped out of nowhere. For example, we could say that the Big Bang came from the singularity, and that the singularity has just always existed. We could say that the universe goes through constant cycles of like big bounces and big crunches, that rapidly expands just to like condense back down to rapidly expand again, all the way for forever, basically.
Okay, so
and
you
that
say
it's
the
just
Big
always
Bang.
been like that, and it'll just always be like that.
But with the Big Bang now, so you say Big Bang, and my whole point that I'm trying to say is, okay, how would the Big Bang have happened?
So yeah, we have like multiple theories. We don't know for sure. No
that's
one
what
does.
I'm saying. These are
Not
theories.
scientists, but especially not religious people. We don't know what caused exactly the Big Bang to happen, but we do know that the Big Bang did happen, and we have multiple theories that don't rely on like shrugging our shoulders and saying, "Well, I guess God did it." We could say that the Big Bang came from the singularity, and that the singularity existed forever. We could say that the universe is cyclical, and that it's been cyclical forever. There's really no reason to believe in a God rather than believe in like any of these other explanations. If you're off the app, I can't hear you, by the way.
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you right now, but I couldn't hear you before.
So I guess with the standpoint of, I don't know what the singularity is. So I guess you keep answering my question with like, oh, the singularity. And like, so I guess that would
Oh, I can
make
explain it to you if you want.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
That would.
So when we talk about a singularity, we're talking about like a point that is like hyper condensed, existed in like a very hot, dense state that contained like the matter and the energy that currently compose the universe, all in this like hyper dense state. And we have like good evidence that suggests that a singularity like could have been the result. So 10 to the negative 33 seconds after the Big Bang, we have a like, it's almost like a baby picture of the universe. Like we know that the universe was around the size of a human, a very short period of time after the Big Bang. So because of that, and to be clear, so we know this from like the cosmic microwave background radiation, which exists at all points in space. So if the universe was at like certainly in a hot, dense state, and it's currently still expanding, and it's like a lot larger now, then it seems like it could have been in an even smaller state before this point. That it could have truly been just like a single, like a singularity, like a single point, just all hyper condensed into one thing.
Okay, so where would the singularity have came from?
the singularity, it could have come from a number of places. It could have come from a previous cycle of like big bounces and big crunches. It could have existed eternally. It could be like a third thing, and we don't even know if the singularity is the thing that actually existed in the first place. But we do know that there are physical explanations that don't require the like belief or like the positing of the existence of a God.
So my point here is that that's great, and these are all cool reasonings and theories. And I just think that it's not crazy, nor is it default for you to believe in that. And it's like there's no difference for somebody else to say it had to be made.
No, there's a big difference in saying these two things.
Well,
because
that's the thing, because you just told me that it's not real, that it's a theory.
No, wait, so something being a theory doesn't mean that it's not real. It just means that so when we use scientific theory, what we're essentially saying is that there is this explanation for how something happened, or just like the occurrence of something. And we support these theories with scientific evidence. To be clear, the idea that God just snapped his fingers and poofed everything into existence doesn't even rise to the level of a theory. It's not even a hypothesis. It's just like a belief, essentially. It's like a faith-based belief. There's no evidence that this actually happened. But there is like a big difference in believing in natural causes, like lots of natural theories, and believing in like these supernatural theories. And it's the difference between naturalism and supernaturalism. So naturalism just believes that the only entities that exist are natural, that there's natural causes, natural properties, but there's not supernatural anything. Under this worldview, this is just like a much simpler worldview, just because it posits the existence of fewer types of entities, that instead of saying that, yeah, I have all of these like supernatural entities, I can just say, yeah, I have all of these natural entities. Whereas your position, you have to say that there were all these natural entities and also that there were all these like supernatural entities. If both have the exact same explanatory power, I don't understand why I would need to appeal to imaginary friends.
I mean, so you appealing to God rather than imaginary friend is me personally, and I guess we can move on after this because this is going to be going in a circle, but I just don't think that you believing that everything that's happened is natural, like even this Big Bang and singularity, these aren't stuff that you've seen, that you've heard, that you've smelt or tasted. These are something that you choose to believe in from another man that did research. So,
yeah, because there's like a lot of evidence for all of these things.
Right,
like, these
but
things didn't just like,
that's the
fall
same
out of
thing with the
nowhere.
Bible.
Like none of these theories was just like made up randomly.
Okay, but that's the same thing with the Bible, it being historically written, and I believe it from another man is the same thing that you're doing, believing that a singularity existed and that it could be eternal, or that the Big Bang happened and an explosion made the world and everything complex in it. There's no difference.
No, but there's gonna be like a world of difference, because there's actually, so this gets into, if this is the only evidence that we look at, then I actually agree that these are on the same footing, that my explanation for how the universe came about is roughly the same as your explanation for how the universe came about. Although I would say that mine is a lot simpler, and by Occam's razor, we should probably be preferring my explanation, all else equal. However, if you actually want to get into the Bible, the evidence against the Bible means that your explanation is just going to be substantially less probable. I'd ask you, why are there gratuitous natural evils in the world if God is all good? Like, why did God make the sun in such a way that it gives us skin cancer?
Well, I'm not educated fully on the sun, but I am educated on what you asked. So for one, I think that no matter what, there's going to be people like you, right? So let's say that in a crazy, perfect world, God made everything perfect. You would still sit and say that he's an unjust God because now he created us, he knows what we're going to do, and he's forcing us to obey him. In return, we get a world that's perfect. He's giving us like food, he's giving us all this different stuff.
This doesn't explain it at all. So just saying that like in the alternative world, I'd make like the exact same critique.
Just listen to what I'm saying.
In terms of my specific critique, so I think that you can have free will and you can have evil that results from free will. That's perfectly consistent with Christian theology. What's not consistent with theology is why the universe itself is so hostile towards us, why there's like earthquakes on Earth, or why the sun gives us skin cancer. These things are not compatible with the existence of an all-good God who you would believe made all of these things in the first place.
Okay, so understandable, but now I'm telling you, right? So like, okay, beginning of the Bible, and we're talking about Adam and Eve. There wasn't any problems. There wasn't any cancer. There wasn't any AIDS. There was no stuff like that. everything that bad happened in the world, according to the Bible, because I know you don't believe in it, but from my belief system, is it happened after we first sinned. And we first sinned because we were given free will to do so, because God didn't want to be unjust. He didn't want to be seen as he's forcing us to do stuff. So he gave us the free will for you to have your thought process of he doesn't exist, which is fair. So now, after that, he tells us, if you don't believe in me, if you choose not to believe in my son, whatever, there's a consequence for that. And I feel like this is where people get the misconception that...
Wait, so what about the Christians with skin cancer?
What does a Christian having skin cancer have to do with God not being real?
Because you said that like there's going to be natural suffering for the people who don't accept God.
There's going to be a hell after they die.
Oh, sure. Well, okay, but that's just preaching. We're talking about the existence of natural gratuitous evils in the now. So who made it such that if Adam and Eve sinned, that skin cancer would be the result, or that cancer would be the result? Who made that that way?
I would say that it's influenced by us humans, but technically God made it that way.
Wait, okay. So, but did Adam influence the fact that if he sinned, there would be skin cancer? Was he the one who set that consequence? Was it Eve?
The thing is, after Adam and Eve did what they did, it was a punishment.
But who chose the punishment?
God.
Oh, so then God is the reason. God decided that we should get skin cancer.
No, because now you're not taking into account of free will.
Wait, but do you think it's people's free will to get skin cancer?
I think it's people's free will to make a decision that can lead them to have something bad happen to them.
Yeah, but these things, they can do everything, right? Every single time that they go out into the sun, they could put on like a full layer of sunscreen, like SPF 140 sunscreen. They could do this every single time they go and leave, and not even like they don't have to spend like tons of time in the sun, and they could still get skin cancer. But also, like, why would God do this to us in the first place? Like, why shouldn't we be able to go out and chill in the sun?
Well, why should we have somebody that, let's say like with me, my belief, why should I have somebody that created me, that made me so the way I am, and then disobey his commandment?
Did God know that we were going to disobey the commandments?
Technically, yes, because he's...
Oh, cool. So it sounds like God gave us skin cancer knowing that he would give us skin cancer before he even created Adam and Eve in the first place.
No. See, that's what a lot of people would like to say, because he knows everything. He knew it would be evil, and he knew he'd be...
Well, and you said that he knew that we would fall, so...
Yes. I mean, he knows everything, right? So...
Okay, so it sounds like he knew that he was going to give us skin cancer from the first moment when he was creating us.
The problem with that is right now you're trying to say like, oh, you're trying to ask me stuff that there's no way a human being could understand his rule.
Oh, so do you agree that God is the one who's giving us skin cancer?
You keep saying skin cancer, but
that's just what I'm focusing on, because I'm focused on the sun specifically.
I'm going to tell you that I believe God gave us. I believe that bad stuff in the world didn't just happen because God said, oh, I want you guys to suffer. I believe it happened because we didn't listen to him.
Yeah, but do you think that God is the one who's causing the UV rays to come off of the sun?
I mean, God is the creator of it. So if there's UV rays coming from the sun, then yes, God.
And do you agree that UV rays are the things that give us skin cancer?
Sure. I don't know.
Yeah. So it sounds like God is giving us skin cancer.
And it sounds like this wasn't a problem until we disobeyed God.
The skin cancer wasn't a problem until we disobeyed God? Why would he make the sun like that in the first place? Couldn't he just make the sun in such a way that it didn't give us skin cancer?
Right. And before we even got into this, I told you specifically, I said, if God made everything perfect and we are just serving him, people would still say that we're enslaved to him, even though he made everything great for us.
No, that's not true. Because you're not responding to my specific answer to this objection that we can still have free will. We can have evil from free will. We can have goodness from free will. But it doesn't make sense that nature does evil things to us. It doesn't make sense that the earth shakes and that takes the lives of 60,000 people a year. It doesn't make sense that there's like tsunamis that take the lives of like many more people every year. It doesn't make sense that the sun emits UV radiation, which gives us skin cancer. None of these are a result of people's free will. Like if someone is unalived in an earthquake, they're not choosing to like be unalived by that earthquake. They just are.
Okay. And so I think when it comes to stuff like this, with God being real or not real, it's going to take faith on either side.
So it sounds like you don't have a response to that. So you're backing up to that you don't have any evidence, you have no answer, but you're going to believe it anyway.
Okay, so before we get into that specific comment, because I think we're both, what you just said, we're quite technically both doing the same thing.
No, not at all.
Yeah, because you're telling me stuff that you can't prove. You can't prove to me a singularity because you told me it's a theory. And
Yes, but we have lots of evidence for a singularity.
No, you have a lot of evidence.
I have no
to
problem
support
giving you the
theory.
evidence for the singularity. That's like really easy for me. In
Look,
fact,
I have
already did
evidence.
that.
I have quote unquote evidence that an Illuminati might exist, and that doesn't mean an Illuminati exists.
Yeah, but we have we have scientific evidence that the singularity could have been the explanation. We have no scientific evidence that the Illuminati exists.
There's a lot of scientific evidence of stuff that's happened in the Bible that's been.
But this is just going to be a pivot away from like earthquakes and skin cancer.
Yeah, so we can get into your earthquakes and stuff. So because,
So is God the cause of earthquakes?
God is the creator of the world. So yes.
Okay, so if God causes something, is it good?
If God causes what?
If God causes something, is it good?
If I don't that question, I don't know. Like you're really good at asking.
Do you think God is all good?
I think God is all great. Yes.
Yeah. So if God is all good, then if he causes something, is it going to be a good thing?
I think it's just.
Okay. So, and you agree that God causes earthquakes. So you would say that earthquakes are just.
I think they're natural. Yes, they're just. It's not. Do I believe that people who died from it deserve to die? No. I feel like that's what you're trying to imply, and that's not what I'm saying.
Wait, so how can earthquakes be just, but also it was unjust for the people to die in them?
I didn't say it was unjust for people to die in it. I'm not.
So do you think it's just? So when an earthquake kills, there was like an earthquake in Indonesia that killed 227,000 people in 2004. Do you think that the deaths of all these people, including like babies and newborns, do you think that all this was just?
No.
Okay. But do you agree that God is the cause of this earthquake?
I believe that God is the cause of everything that happens. So yes.
Yeah. Okay. And you also said earlier that if God causes something that it's just. So if God causes something it's just, God caused this earthquake, but you don't think this earthquake was just. So you need to reject one of these premises.
Well, I need to reject the fact that, well, you keep asking me, do I think the earthquake is just? The earthquake itself is something like in this world today, I'd say, oh, that's unfair. I'm sorry. I'm not happy that people died, but it's not something that I think is like, I feel like you're trying to make me say something that's not what I'm saying.
Well,
Nobody's
but
saying
your
that
worldview entails a contradiction. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand, is that there's a contradiction in believing that everything God does is just, believing that God causes earthquakes, and also believing that earthquakes are not just.
Okay, so, but what I said earlier was that bad things happen in this world, not because God is unjust, but because of what we did in the very beginning of when we were created.
Okay, so I think I already explained my like issues with that God is like the cause of, he set the punishment regardless, so I still think that he has moral responsibility. But I think that there's like even a more fun objection to the Adam and Eve story. Do you think that incest is ever moral?
Okay, so I know exactly where you're gonna go with this, and I just will like to point out before anything is said and before we even get into that nowadays in current times, no, but to an extent, and let's just say like, okay, the world, just started whatever, to populate in the very beginning, you would need to be doing that. It would
So you would say that incest is moral sometimes.
No, because now I'm not saying it's moral. I'm saying
yeah, but like sometimes includes the past as well. So you would say that incest is moral sometimes.
No, I'm not gonna sit on here with
But
a
so
thousand
sometimes
people and say
includes the
that I
past
think
as well. So is incest ever moral?
I'm saying that it happened, and whether or not I think it's moral has no type
Wait,
of.
it's a yes or no question. Is
But
incest
that
ever
has
moral?
nothing to do with God being real.
Yes, it does, because if we agree that incest is immoral, there's no time where incest was ever moral, God forcing Adam and Eve, or like their children specifically, to reproduce via incest means that God is forcing them to do something immoral, that he's giving them contradictory commandments, both go out and reproduce and fill the world full of humans, and also do incest, the thing that I think is immoral.
So you're trying to. So okay, for one, because this is such a subject that I don't want to specifically say with so many people watching, but I'm gonna just get into it. Incest, for one, is something bad that we created as us, as a culture. We said, okay, incest is bad. We came to come to that. So for me to think that has no proof to say, oh, I think it's wrong and God did it, so God is wrong. That's not how that works, because we as a people came to think that incest is wrong.
This is just not an answer to the question. Is incest ever moral? It's a yes or no. Either yes, incest was moral at some point or is moral now, or no, incest was never moral. There was never a time where incest was moral.
Like I keep telling you right now, I don't think that incest is moral.
So your answer is that incest was never moral?
To me, but that doesn't matter.
But okay, so to God, do you think that incest was ever moral?
I don't know God's thoughts.
Oh, okay.
All I know is that
I can tell you God's thoughts, because it says in Leviticus that sibling incest is immoral.
Okay.
Yeah. So from that, would you agree that God thinks that sibling incest is immoral? I can't hear you if you're off the app, by the way.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I was lagging, but you said, what book was it that you said? You said Leviticus?
Yeah. That, where is it? Yeah, so Leviticus 18:9, you are not to uncover the nakedness of your sister.
Okay.
So would you agree that to God, incest, like sibling incest, is immoral? I mean, the alternative is that God doesn't think that sibling incest is immoral, which opens up an entire other can of worms.
To that, all I can say to you is that incest that was happening all that while ago was happening before Leviticus, or before it was commanded that we shouldn't do that.
Oh, so are you saying that goodness and badness doesn't exist until we're actually like given the commandments?
Goodness, I'm just trying to understand your question.
Yeah, so you're saying that incest wasn't bad until we were given the command to not do incest. So are you saying that in order for something to be good and bad, that God needs to tell us that it's good or bad?
Well, that early on in life, yeah. Not nowadays, because we've come so far as a civilization. But back then,
so you're saying that goodness and badness didn't exist until God actually like spoke them into existence?
No, what I'm comparing it to is, like, let's say you have like me, I have a little baby sister. If she jumps off the couch and hurts herself, and I tell her this is wrong, she may have not known that until I described that being wrong to her.
Okay, but did God always know that incest was wrong? Like before he created humans, did he know that incest was wrong? Even if Adam and Eve and their children didn't know?
Well, for me to tell somebody not to do something doesn't always mean that it's technically wrong. More so, we don't want you doing it no more.
That's just a yes or no question. So did God know before he made humanity that incest was wrong?
I think that I don't know what God's plan was, but I think that if I had to look what happened, I would say it was something that he felt was needed to reproduce, and then after a certain amount of time, didn't want it to
No,
happen.
it's not. That's not true at all. He could have just made like a very populated Earth.
Right, but we've already discussed that he could have done so many things, and that no matter what he did, you people, not people like you, but people who are against him would still exist. So we can't play a what if game of he could.
Well, yes, we can. Wait, answer it. Like, this is just like a cop out to excuse you from having to answer like the tough questions that you're just saying like, well, even if there is a contradiction, I mean, if there wasn't this contradiction, you'd just complain about a different contradiction. Probably true, but alas, it's like kind of irrelevant. The thing that I'm just asking you is, did God know that incest was always wrong? Like right now, today, does God know that incest is wrong?
And I'm telling you that I'm not in God's head, and what I'm looking at from the Bible. He told us that it was wrong, and up until then, it was a normal thing. It was what people were doing when there was only two humans.
Yeah, but that's like normal doesn't determine morality. So if God determines morality, he didn't just say like do the normal thing, because that includes lots of things that he didn't want people to do. He actually gave lots of restrictions. But so I just want to be very clear. You have no idea whatsoever whether or not incest right now today is immoral.
No, I said that to me today. It's immoral.
No, but to God, does God know that incest is immoral?
So with you,
it's a yes or no question.
I don't know what God would say on. I mean, he said that it's immoral in Leviticus, like you pointed out. So yes, then that means from Leviticus on, we knew that God didn't want incest in the world.
So does God's knowledge change?
Well, here's the thing. What I keep trying to tell you, I don't think it was something where it's, okay, this is wrong and I don't ever want them doing it. I think it was, he just wanted us to stop doing it.
So are you saying that, this is not an answer to the question though, does God's knowledge change? Because you're saying right now God knows that incest is immoral. But before Leviticus, God did not know that. So, or you don't know if God knew that. So I'm just going to ask you, does God's knowledge change?
No, I don't think that God's knowledge changes.
Okay. So if right now today, God knows that incest is immoral, we would also say, because God's knowledge doesn't change, that God knew at the beginning of time that incest is immoral.
So if let's say, because I mean, you're trying to.
Thanks so much for the heart.
I get what you're saying now. So you're saying that, God says in Leviticus, don't do it, but allowed it in the beginning, and that's contradictive. Is that what you're trying to
that God knew incest was immoral because his knowledge doesn't change. And he knows that it's immoral today. So we knew that when God was commanding them to go forth and repopulate, that God knew that the only way that they would be able to repopulate is via incest, and that he knew incest was wrong. So from this, we would just like very simply conclude that God commanded them to do something that he knew would entail doing something wrong, that there's no way to fulfill the commandment without actually doing incest.
Right. And so my what I would say my reasoning is to that is because I don't really I'd really rather us talk about something else, because I feel like you're trying to make me say that incest is moral, but I'm just going to go ahead and
I
say
just want like a theodicy for the contradiction that God is all good, but he's commanding people to do things that necessitate they do evil things.
No. So what I'm trying to tell you that I think happened, because I won't know for sure, obviously, but I just think that that it's not something that God would have said today is moral or immoral. I think it's something that he allowed and then said didn't want to happen anymore. Not because, this is some whatever. I just think that it happened and he said, don't let it happen anymore. And I think it's just simple as that. I don't think it goes.
So do you agree that Adam and Eve, the only way that they could have reproduced is via incest? Or no, not Adam, but their children rather. I'm sorry. That their children could have only reproduced via incest.
I mean, the natural way, yes, but God obviously is all powerful. He could have just made another human.
Do you have any evidence that he made another human?
From the way he made Adam and Eve?
Yeah, that Adam and Eve are not the only humans God made.
I'm not knowledgeable of that, no.
Okay. So there's no evidence that Adam made or that God made other humans. It's only the only ones that we know he made are Adam and Eve.
Yes.
So if these are the only humans he made, that the only way that they reproduced is with each other, and that they would have had children, and the only way that their children could have reproduced is with each other.
Right.
Which means that Adam and Eve's children must have necessarily come about, or like must have necessarily performed incest in order to actually reproduce in the first place, in order to make more children and fulfill the commandment that God gave them in the first place.
Yes. So saying the same thing, that it would be incest in which they went on to have kids and more people populate the earth. I agree with you.
So did God know that his commandment towards them was going to result in incest?
That his commandment to what, be fruitful and multiply?
Yeah, that would result in their children doing incest.
I guess, yeah, he would have to.
And did God know, as we established earlier, that incest was wrong?
Sorry, can you repeat? I didn't hear you.
And did God know, as we established earlier, that incest is wrong?
But this is where we disagree, where I just told you that I don't think
you disagree that incest is wrong?
There you go again.
Or that like God knew that incest was wrong?
No, I already told you that I think he allowed it and then said he didn't want it to happen.
Yeah, but did he know that it was wrong? That's the question.
But that's the thing. Then nothing has to be wrong or right for someone to say, I don't want you to do something.
Yeah, but did God know that incest was wrong? It's
we
a yes or
think
no
incest
question.
is wrong because we don't do it anymore.
Did God know that incest was wrong? It's a yes or no question.
I don't. If God knows everything, whether or not it's wrong is quite literally an opinion. He stated that it will be wrong past Leviticus, and that's just it. I don't understand where we're going with
But it's not an opinion if God does it. Like if God believes something or if God knows something, that's not an opinion. That would just be like God, like objective reality, because God's perspective is going to be the true reality. So, and there's like a double bind here. There's like one of two scenarios is true. Either God, when giving these commandments that he knew would result in incest, God did know that incest was wrong, which means he's a hypocrite, that he forced them to do this thing that he knew was evil. Or God did not know that incest was wrong, in which case you would have to conclude that incest is not wrong because God does not think that it's wrong. Or you would have to say that like God changed his mind at some point in time, which means that God's knowledge would change, which contradicts your earlier statements. All paths lead to contradiction here. You're off the app, by the way. I can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I just I think what like this whole incest thing, it just goes into like, you know, nowadays incest. I don't know, bro. Like
we're just talking about like in that, because this is a disproof for the existence of the Adam and Eve story, that he would have had to do other stuff.
So with incest specifically, like I keep saying, bro, it's one of those tough ones where I don't want, because I feel like I know what you're trying to get me to say, and there's so many people in here that I don't want to say it, and it's taken the wrong way. But with that incest thing, before Leviticus, I feel like incest back then and now are way two different incest nowadays.
But do you think that incest was ever moral? Like back then, do you think that it was a fine thing to do?
I think that it was acceptable back then.
Oh, so you think that so if I said the statement, incest is never moral, it was never moral, you would disagree with that statement?
I would say that it was once moral.
Okay. To me, like that's just the reductio. Incest is never moral. And if God gave this commandment in Leviticus, God knew that it was never moral, because God knew that incest, specifically the reproduction with your sister, could never possibly be a moral thing to do.
I mean, I guess we can go. I don't know. I just feel like the incest that you're trying to talk about today is different from the incest back then. Therefore, it's
in what way is it different?
Well, for starters, incest today, probably 90% of the time, is a rape scenario.
That's true. But like, why is like sibling incest immoral?
Sibling incest is immoral because Well, I mean, if you want to be really technical, it's immoral because it's illegal. It's not. That's what we're told.
Well, that's not a good standard for morality.
Right. I know, but I'm just being technical. Obviously, I think in my head, off of my feelings, that it's not something you need to do. But I'm just saying that.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering. Okay, wait. So what was the difference? What's the difference today between? I actually asked the complete wrong question. So what's the difference today between like incest with siblings and the difference back then between incest with siblings?
Well, I already said probably the biggest difference is that today, for one, there's multiple different people that you could have sex with. Two, I think that I already said prior, today incest is probably 99% of the time rape.
Yeah, but I'm just asking like in like a sibling where they consent, even though I do think that it's still immoral if people consent and like conceive children. But in a scenario, like so the difference is just going to be that there's like multiple people now. So it seems like your problem is just going to be necessity, that incest was acceptable back then, but is not acceptable today because of necessity. So who made it necessary that there was only one family in existence? Who made it such that there weren't many families such that we didn't need to rely on incest?
So your question is, who made it so that all they could do was incest?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what you're looking for is God made, like, I don't know, you asked me that, but we already know, like, I'm not going to shy away from it. God made the world. So if, in essence, God made it like that.
Yeah, so it sounds like God forced incest to be, like, he was the one who forced them to reproduce via a situation of incest. Actually, also, I don't think necessity dictates morality. Like, do you think that it's, if I'm, like, about to starve to death, do you think that it's immoral to, like, unalive someone and eat them? Like, let's say that this is, like, the only way I could possibly do it, that it is, like, if for my survival, it is necessary that I do this. Would that mean that it's moral to do that thing?
No, it's not.
Okay, cool. So the necessity doesn't dictate morality. So just because it was necessary for Adam and Eve's children to reproduce via like sleeping with their siblings, that doesn't mean that it was moral, even though it was necessary.
Yes. So but like even this example that you gave, in my opinion, that's all like subjective, because if somebody, to the person that ate, so let's say it's me and you had to eat me to survive. Me, obviously, being eaten, I'm going to be the one that is going to say that is wrong because murder is wrong, no matter what. You're going to say I had to survive and I don't think it was wrong. It was my only option.
Oh, so morality is subjective?
I think, but I mean, all rules in the world are all subjective. We had rulers that said an eye for eye, right? And today we wouldn't say there's an eye for eye.
Cool. No, I agree. Morality is subjective. W, massive W. That's just incompatible with Christian worldview is the problem.
And how is that?
Because God would be your objective standard. You would say that morality is objective in the Christian worldview.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Because God is in the Christian worldview, God is the objective standard for morality.
Yeah, so I don't agree with that, because I think that everything that God does has been moral, or has reasoning, or has just.
Wait, so you don't think God is the objective standard for morality?
No, I do, but I'm saying like.
So then you think morality is objective, not subjective?
Well, objective with God, I think it's subjective amongst us.
Oh, cool. I mean, that's like fine, I guess, but I'm just talking about like from God's perspective. He created this scenario that he believes to be immoral, or he doesn't, in which case, like, in which case that's like a reductio in itself, that God thinks that there's scenarios where incest is like totally fine.
Shying away from that just because I don't want to, like I said, well, as people here get into incest ever being okay, is there something else specifically in the Bible that I couldn't get doxxed for talking about on here.
That you couldn't get doxxed?
Yeah, I'm not doxxed, but just later on, because this has happened before. I've had this conversation before with somebody with the God isn't real, and they bring up that, and it's not something like, I feel like you having that on the background, you're supposed to tell me why definitive proof God isn't real, and you haven't really done that.
Yeah, well, but I have, because I've the reductios have been given. If you don't think that they're reductios, then that just means that you're agreeing to absurd positions, like there were times when incest was moral. Incest was never moral. Sibling incest, making children who have like a 50% chance of having birth defects, that's not a moral thing to do. Like if you were to have a baby and you were drinking heavily, and you gave your kid fetal alcohol syndrome, that's like a super immoral thing to do. Incest is never moral. It was never moral. And you have to defend that there's a point in time where it was moral, or you need to say that God forced Adam and Eve to do a thing, or forced their children to do a thing which is immoral. Those are your options.
Right. So I guess with this whole incest thing, I mean, like I said, I guess in today's world, all of us, there's not one person, unless they're sick, that would say that incest is immoral. And I just think that when it comes to God, him saying in Leviticus that he doesn't want us to do it anymore is not him contradicting himself when he allowed Adam and Eve and the early humanity to do it. I just think that was his way of making them do it. And then he didn't want us to do that anymore.
But you agree that he could have just made the world such that it didn't have to happen.
Yeah, I agree that he could have single-handedly with his finger. Instead, if he's all-powerful, he could have just made more humans with his finger in the world rather than making people sleep with each other.
Yeah, so why didn't he?
Well, again, that's not me. I can't tell you why God didn't do something because I'm not God.
I mean, it seems like God, then you'd have to conclude that no matter what the reasoning is, God did create a scenario where the only thing that could have happened is incest. But we've been talking for a while, so I should probably move on to the next guest. But I do appreciate you coming on up here.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 160K. Stream's going pretty well so far. Make sure you're dropping a follow as well. So you never miss a single live. You can always catch the next one. Make sure you're joining the Discord as well. Link in bio. I've been told that the link doesn't work, so you might need to access it via a web browser, and with that, we can go to the next guest. But make sure you're sharing it with your friends, dropping a comment as well. It's good for the health of the stream, Damn, guests have just not been joining lately. It's sad. All right.
Yo.
Hey, what's up? How's it going? How old are you?
I'm 33. We spoke before.
Okay. And do you think God is real?
I think God is real, yes, but not the way people describe it.
Oh, wait. So what religion are you? Because I only debate people who have like a specific religion.
Well, I mean, technically I have a specific spirituality, but I don't use the word religion.
So what's the label for your spirituality?
Religion is just a word that describes repetitive actions.
Because I'm not like super interested in debating people who just like made up a spirituality.
No, I haven't made up a spirituality. I started off as a Christian, then I went to studying different religions. I've studied Buddhism, I've studied Hinduism, I've studied many different religions, but I wouldn't say that I'm aligned to one specific one. I studied them all.
So do you believe in the God of the Bible?
No. No.
Do you believe that Jesus is God?
No.
Okay. Do you believe that Allah is the last prophet?
No.
Do you believe that the Israelites are the chosen people of God?
Chosen? I wouldn't say chosen. I would say they were the last created people of God.
God created the Israelites?
Same way as he created everything else.
But you said that he was the last. You said that he was the last.
They were the
these
last
were like the last people that God
created.
created, but you're also saying that God created everything else. So it sounds like these actually aren't the last people that God created.
Yeah, there's more. There's more people, but it's hard to explain in a linear path.
I mean, it just
The way-
it like sounds kind of like nonsense. I don't know. Like,
I mean, I can elaborate. I can explain.
yeah. So just like, what's the proof that your God exists?
Okay, so my proof is okay. First, we'll have to start with the word God. God is just a word that describes a being that's all powerful, so called all powerful. But the same things you were struggling with, right? Like you were saying, if God is all powerful, how can he create a rock that he can't lift? Like that's the same basis I have come to before. But the thing is, the words that divide us is what keeps us from finding out the truth. The
Oh,
truth
so
is,
well, that's just preaching. Like, this is just saying, like, well, you raised this objection, and I've thought about it before, but this objection is just getting in the way of you converting to a religion. That's not an argument at
no,
all.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're very close to finding out the truth, and religion is what keeps people from finding the truth. The thing is, God is not a person. Even in the Bible that certain people follow, God never showed up as a person. He was
If God's not a
bush,
person,
he
could
was
I
a
abort
voice. He was a person that said, I am, therefore I am, then disappeared. And none of these things are humans.
God? Okay, so do you think that God is like the creator of the universe?
I think it's either the God that people describe or it's another God.
Okay,
As
but
far
do you
as
think
what
that
I
this? So if
consider,
this God
I
is
don't
all
consider the
powerful,
God of the Bible as like the true God, because I know the Bible, like literally the Bible, was rewritten and controlled in order to control slaves. Like it was literally made in a certain way to control slaves. That is the only point the Bible even exists for. King James
no,
himself
that's
was
not true.
Yeah.
So like there was like a slave edition Bible, but this is not like they did not replace like the Bible overall with like the slave edition Bible. There are Bibles from regions that never interacted with the concept of slavery, who had
That's the
Bibles
thing. They
before
weren't
and maintained
called
it after.
Bibles,
Like that's
though.
just not true. But regardless. So I guess I'm interested in your answer to the question that you were positing before. So do you think that God could make a rock that's so heavy he can't lift it?
Yes.
So and then could God lift that rock?
Eventually, if he decided to, yeah.
Yeah. So God both can make a rock that's so heavy he can't lift it, and can also lift that rock. So you would say that God can make a rock that's both so heavy he can't lift it, and also that he can totally lift it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Because,
then that's just a
number one, I feel
contradiction.
as
So
though-
do you think that God could like make it so that he doesn't exist and also does exist at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay, yeah, God could easily make it such that he doesn't exist and exists at the same time.
So existence is something that's perceptual from us. If you're outside of existence,
No, but I'm not in like a
existence is
different
just a
sense.
thing.
I'm not asking like could he make himself exist in one sense and like not exist in a different sense. I'm asking like the same sense of the word. Could God make himself exist and not exist on whatever like
And that's the
plane or
thing where I
dimension
s-
of being?
That's the thing where I say these words is what divides us.
Wait,
We
but that's
only
not an
understand
answer. It's a
the
yes or no
spectrum that we
question.
can
Could God
understand.
both make it? Could God make it so that he both exists and doesn't exist?
Yes.
Okay, and I guess like that. So this is just obvious nonsense on face, but
mean,
I'll do another one because I
understand-
think they're fun. Or maybe I'll do two more. So can God make atheism true?
Possibly, yeah. But what I was trying to get at was that
Wait,
existence and
he possibly could.
non-existence-
God could possibly make atheism true.
Yeah, I would have to literally mentally get to the fact of it being possible. But before I do that, I'm talking about the word existence. Non-existence is only something because we have the word existence, but there's no proof of nothing. In this world, there is no proof of nothing. There is always something. You can't have nothing. There's no way to have no thing. There's air, there's particles, there's quantum mechanics. There's no such thing as nothing.
Nothing
Yet
is just
we
going to
have
be
the word.
contextual for like the lack of a thing.
Exactly. And that's
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
where
So
the
if I said like, do you, how many, I don't know, like how many times have you been charged for like child rape? And then you would say 0, hopefully, and then we would agree that in terms of like the evidence that you've raped any children, there is nothing.
so you're saying 0 is not a thing.
Well, I
Again,
mean,
the
zero
words
is zero
might
is
confuse
nothing.
us.
0 is just like the absence of a value.
It's a thing, but it's a thing. It's a
I
word, right?
suppose, yeah, like
It's a
kind of. But
vibration
this is
coming
like this
from
is
a
just
mouth,
like a weird like word game. Like
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
I'm like
You're
kind
not
of
understanding.
uninterested in this art. Like, do you have like an actual argument for the existence
Yeah.
of your God?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to, but I was just, you know, a little jumbled by listening to all these other people talk, and I wanted to elaborate on their things because a lot of them are stupid. Like they don't use any type of science or study any type of anything. They're just reading the Bible. The thing is, even the Bible tells you seek ye knowledge first.
Wait,
So
I just need you to. Do you have like an argument for the existence of your God? I'm
Yeah.
not really interested in like the meta commentary.
yeah. So the way I believe everything comes from something. Therefore, all energy came from a source of that energy. We know for a fact that energy does not dissipate. Therefore, God could only be the source of that energy. For us to say the source of that energy is a singularity, would that not be God?
No, because God specifically is something that's all powerful. The singularity is not all
somebody
powerful.
told you that though. Who
But
said
yeah,
that's
you told me that. You said that the way you define God is as a being who's all powerful. The singularity is not
that's
all
how
powerful.
the word defines
that's
God.
these are the
I
words
do
that
not
you use. This
define
is your
God as that.
definition.
I don't even like the word God. I
Oh,
literally
wait.
say
So do you
the
think
Most
God is
High.
real?
I believe I don't like to use the word God. I say the Most High because I believe it's a vibration of energy.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to someone who has like real things to say. No, that's just like extremely boring to me.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, I have a question. Do you know about Taoism?
I do.
Okay. I wonder what you think about like spiritual religions.
I don't think so. I actually do. Taoism forms like a large part of my metaphysics. However, I don't believe in like any of the spiritual aspect of it. I believe
Yes,
that
yeah,
that
exactly.
like we put stuff into categories, that these categories don't exist absolutely. Like we just made them up ourselves. But I don't believe in like anything other than that from Taoism, basically.
Yeah.
I also like I would just ask you because it sounds like if you're a Taoist that you probably don't believe in like a god specifically. Is that
No.
true? Like,
But I also have some things to say about God.
well, wait, but I'm just looking for people who believe in a god. If you only request to join if you believe in a god specifically. Hey, what's
Hello.
up? How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing good. How old are you?
I am 21.
And do you think God is real?
I absolutely think he is real, yes.
Yeah. Which god specifically do you believe in?
I am a Christian, but I don't agree with certain things on the like of the Bible, you could say, because I feel like it's been manipulated by men like across time, you know.
Yeah. So, would you have any proof that the Bible is true, or that the Christian religion is true?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily Christianity, but I can give you some points about how God is real. You know?
Yeah, sure. So why is God real?
I'm like, for me, I'm a Christian, but I personally do not like disagree with, you could say, Buddhisms and Muslims, because it's like all of that. Those are in reality stories that have been made up across time, you know. But I think there are some certain facts that can prove that God is real, and I don't like
that's
trying
fine. So I'll
convince
just ask you, like, what are the facts that prove that God is real?
So, like, I guess we can start off. I'm sure. I mean, you look like you're a very intellectual person, and you have a lot of information if you've studied this for a while. So I'm sure you know what like the God, like the evolution, like the 5 steps, the 5 major steps of evolution have been since like you guys were talking about Adam and Eve. all of that those are just stories that tell us that we are sinners, and that's why we are placed on this earth, and that's why we don't have free will necessarily to like control our fate. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Wait, this sounds like gibberish to me. So what?
Oh, no,
so
it's not.
I
Let me-
just want
let
you
me-
to finish the sentence. God exists because.
So, okay, yeah. God exists through evolution. We can see it as like how we, from basically germs, have come into existence across billions of years of evolution. So how do you explain the major changes in evolution with scientific facts? Because I've tried to look this up and there is no explanation. The only explanation is evolution. But I think that's a divinity that gave us amphibians, mammals, and us being intellectual beings, like across evolution. How would you explain that? I don't know. It's like hard to explain. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, but this is like we can just have evolution without God versus like evolution with God. There's no reason why we wouldn't just like prefer evolution without him. But specifically how we went from single-celled organisms, prokaryotes, to multicellular organisms, eukaryotes, and eventually to species is just because there's evolution fills the many evolutionary vacuums, that there is great utility in being a creature who is multicellular and big and capable of consuming other things like plants, which are multicellular and big. That there is just lots of survival incentive in order to take forms like humans or amphibians or reptiles, that these specific species evolved that way because it's advantageous for them to have done so.
Absolutely, but absolutely, I agree totally with you. But the things that I tend to get into about evolution is like, I don't know if you've seen this Morgan Freeman show about like the evolution of all species. As you know, like we basically all come from this particle, like across billions of years of Earth. There have been
like the singularity or what?
Yes, it is a singularity. Yes.
Yeah. So what about
Yeah.
the singularity?
Yeah, exactly. So like I guess what I call the divinity of God is how all these evolutions of all these different types of species played into like making them perfect on how they're supposed to be today. Like our bodies are perfect, like not even just our bodies, like we can also take another step into some math and physics, you could say.
Wait. No, let's stay right here.
Okay.
So no, not every species is not perfect. And this is like easily discernible by the fact that 99.9% of species have gone extinct. Nearly every species that has ever existed has gone extinct. If it was perfect, then how do we have so many extinctions?
That is very valid. We've had many extinctions because I guess those species have lost their purpose on Earth. Like they no
You
longer.
think they just like lost their purpose? So you think like the dodo bird like just lost its purpose?
Yeah, I mean, like, and not only that, like, that's why, like, these are we're talking about like animals here. These are not the evolved, like, they never took the evolution that the step in evolution that we did, which gave us intellectual, I guess, intelligence, just like intelligence to have our own thoughts and our
What
own
do you
emotions.
mean when you talk about like an animal having purpose or like an animal losing purpose? Like I have no idea what that means.
That is something that I said, and I realized that was wrong. They just no longer they what I meant to say is that they no longer took that step that we took in evolution. You know what I mean? Like our step in evolution was like we evolved and we became intellectual beings. They did not. Do you understand?
What? So you think that the only things that can survive, like humans can go extinct as well, to be clear.
Absolutely. I truly believe in that too.
So we don't, like survival isn't going to be dictated by just like, well, you just got to evolve, bro. You just got to keep on evolving. No, these species went extinct not because they needed to keep on evolving, but because their conditions, they were not perfect for their conditions.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, cool. So your earlier statement, you would now disagree with your earlier statement that God made all of these species like absolutely perfect.
Yes, I disagree that they were not all perfect. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That is true. But
okay,
I think
so then I just ask you again for Why do you think that God is real? Because that was like your main argument.
Okay, so I mean, God is real because the way the universe is made, like, I'm sure you know that if gravity were to change by some decimal, like 0.001, all would cease to exist and we would just fall apart.
I'm agnostic on that. Could you provide me, like, I've asked people to provide me a source indicating as much, and they haven't
sure
been
you
able
just
to.
Look that up in Google.
I have looked it up. That's the problem, is that I look it up and nothing comes up.
Oh,
Nothing
okay.
that's not from
I
like a
would have
Christian
to-
website
yes,
comes up. So
I've
would you
learned
provide
from-
me a source saying the things that you're claiming?
I do not remember the name of the book, but I could definitely send it to you so you can read it for future live in case.
Yeah,
but-
that would be like totally cool. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't accept the name, like the evidence that you're not capable of giving, though.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense in the argument.
Yeah,
In
just like
the argument.
DM me or something, and then we can have this conversation again in the future.
Yeah, no, makes sense. But I mean, I could also give you other points. I mean, I think there's so much proof that God exists. Like we can get back into the morals thing that you were discussing with one of the guys that was on the live. Like morality, like you were talking about, like how God I guess he is not being morally correct and damaging us by causing earthquakes and UV rays that cause skin cancer. And
Yep,
that
indeed.
Yeah, and that's like what is harming us. And obviously what is preached in the Bible is that God is love, and God wouldn't necessarily do that. But you have to understand that in this plane of earth, God is not, we cannot see him how like a human being. He is something else. And us being here in this realm, which is what is, I guess you could say, this plane, is not up to him what happens to us.
Wait, do you think Jesus is God?
I believe.
Thanks
that
so much for that
Christ was the
mustache.
Son of
And do you
God,
think that we could have
rose-
seen Jesus?
I have never seen Jesus. No, but
But could we have, like, could people in this realm have seen Jesus and thus seen God?
Absolutely, because he decided to come onto a human form.
Oh, cool. So it seems like we're actually perfectly capable of seeing God if he just like shows himself to us.
If he wanted us to do that, yeah. But and I can also tell you why he wouldn't want us to see him, and why.
Yeah,
he
wait,
would not.
why would he hide himself from us?
I think the reason that he hides himself from us is because it forces us to believe, to have faith, and just believe in his preachings, even though we don't have necessarily like you could say, like substantial evidence and like just absolute facts. We don't have that. But what we do have is various like examples of how God does exist. Like it's more like interpretation, you could say, you know?
So you're saying that it forces us to have faith. And so does God value it when we have faith in him?
Absolutely. Because if you're it's a mentality. At the end of the day, this is all like a mentality. It's just how you feel about life.
Is faith essential for going to heaven?
Absolutely not. I believe atheists and I believe people who have not who do not believe in God or on the correct God can go to heaven. Absolutely.
Oh, wait, then why do I care?
Yeah, you don't have to care as long as you're living a good life, and at the end of the day you repent and regret. You have regrets. I'm sure you've done things that haven't always been good, and at the end of the day, if you end up regretting them, I mean, I'm not sure if you know the story about the man who was crucified next to Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I'm not going to repent to a God that I don't believe in, and it seems like you're saying that I don't have to do that.
You don't necessarily.
If that's cool. Like if all it takes to get into
you don't
heaven,
have to repent to him. As long as you repent it to yourself, as long as you know you're guilty and you know your faults and you repent and you're like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have done that and I actually kind of regret it. At the end of the day, I'm sure God, as our creator and the creator of everything, will have space for the people who have lived a good life and have had like regrets and like they regret what they've done. As long as they repent, I mean, why would God just not accept people who don't necessarily believe in him? I think
no, that's like totally cool, but this is just out of line with Christian theology.
Oh, I absolutely. That's why I'm telling you. Like I I'm not necessarily like I'm a Christian. I consider myself a Christian, but I'm not entirely in agreement with some of the things that Christianity has said, because they are like denying like that. I think that's a man-made thing that they're denying. Like you cannot just say who goes, like we cannot say who goes to heaven.
Yeah, sure. But
like
if all it takes to get into heaven is to just be a good person, I don't have to be a Christian, then I actually don't care about this conversation at all. Like it's actually irrelevant to me that I'll just be a good person and I don't have to figure out what the correct metaphysics are.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were to understand the correct metaphysics and if you were to believe, you would have something to strive for. You know, it's more like a goal, but you can still reach a certain point in life without having that goal. Like you could have, your goal could be something else, and at the end of the day, like let's say I don't want to be rich, right? Like let's just say we're gonna go to a really basic example. Let's say my goal is not to be rich, but I start doing something that I am passionate about, like I don't know, music, and I share my music with the world, and because of my success, I become rich. I've also reached that goal without it being my goal. So I completely believe that you can go to heaven while you're being an atheist and while you're not believing. I think it's completely possible.
Oh,
and
I mean, like sounds good, I suppose. Do you so what specifically is your account though? Because I am confused. What's your account of why God has like this? Why does the sun give us skin cancer? Why would God make it such that the sun gives us skin cancer?
I think that God made the universe as it is, and obviously it's not like we are not perfect for the universe. If you go out into space, you die. Like there are so many things that can harm us.
Yeah.
And it's not God that is doing the harm to us. He placed us.
Did God make it such that the sun emitted UV radiation?
Yeah, I'm sure he created the universe so that, I mean, the UV rays are also what keeps us warm and shit. Like
yeah. So could he have made like different rays? Could he have like just changed the laws of physics or whatever to make it so that there's like rays that keep us warm but don't give us skin cancer?
Absolutely. But do you agree that that with UV rays we have had technological advances because of UV rays?
Yeah, but he could have made like different rays that have all these benefits with none of the downsides. He could have made like different rays that give us no skin cancer and also give us like tons of like technological advances.
Absolutely right. That's absolutely right. But
so why didn't he do that? Why did he choose for us to get skin cancer?
Well, I think it's because he gave us the option to not have everlasting life here on this realm, on this planet.
What do you mean?
We do not have everlasting life here. Like
so we could die from like other ways, exactly. But like why would he make it such that we will die from like skin cancer specifically? Like why would he do that to us?
That there are people that just die at 1 year. I mean, I'm sure that all the diseases and all the things that can damage us, they're not God's will. That's what you have to understand. Like he made the world as it is. And us, like we were saying, we're not perfect. So obviously there are things that will harm us. And that's just how, like, that's just literally how it works. Like, that's just how it works.
Yeah, so why would God make it? Why would this all good God make it such that the world hurt us?
Well, I've always been a strong believer that pain is gain if you turn it into a gain. And I've seen that.
But what if it's skin cancer and it just kills you?
Yeah, then you die.
Is skin cancer gain?
What?
Is skin cancer gain?
No, it is not a gain. I am talking about the technological advances. Obviously,
sure. So why couldn't we have the technological advances without the skin cancer?
Well, because God made it like that.
But why did he make it like that if he's all good? Wouldn't the all good thing to do be to make it such that it gives the technological advances and doesn't give the skin cancer?
Absolutely. That is correct.
So then God is not all good because he made it such that it doesn't do that.
He didn't do it like that because we do not know God's purpose. God has not come down and has told us, like, this is your purpose. He has only showed us a path that you can believe in or you cannot.
So do you agree that God is like the person who is giving us skin cancer? Ian, thanks so much for the heart. I appreciate it.
Wait, what were
do you
saying?
agree that God is the person giving us skin cancer?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so do you agree that God made the sun and that the sun gives us skin cancer?
I believe God made the universe as it is, and I believe that. Well, would you agree with me that if we were to like, look, I know what you're gonna say. Like, I know what you're going for because it's what you were saying to the last guy. But would you agree that if we were to, I don't know, hopefully still be the human race for the next, I don't know, 1,500 years, do you believe it's possible that by then the sun rays wouldn't affect us because of our technological advancements?
Maybe it's possible, but why would we want to, like, I don't think that God is
Those are
going to be an
challenges.
all good God if he if he gives us like the means to make technological advances via like tons of people dying from skin cancer. Why can't he just like allow us to get the scientific advances without getting the skin cancer?
Because then it's a shortcut in life. Like, life has its challenges, and it's literally like, why would he make it easy for us? Like, it's not an easy path.
Because if he's an all good, all loving God, why would he give us skin cancer specifically? Like, why
He's
is a
not the
world
one
with
giving
skin
us skin
cancer
cancer.
preferable
He
to
just
a
made
world
it
without
as it
skin
was,
cancer?
so that we can learn ways to you can wear sunblock, you can stay under the sun.
Yeah, but
There's
people,
now,
there's like lots of people who died of skin cancer before sunblock
absolutely.
existed.
Yeah, I know.
And also we
But-
need the sun in order to survive because it
So-
gives us vitamin D.
Yeah, exactly. And apart from that, I mean, you know that now that sunblock is a thing, that's a technological advancement that was made because of skin cancer. Like,
Yeah, it's an advancement that if the sun didn't give us skin cancer, we would have no need for.
yeah. But it made us strive for something greater, for something that would help us. You
Yeah,
know?
we could be like making advancements in other fields. We just don't have to have the sun give us skin cancer. We could make advancements in the field of like mathematics, physics, or like other technological advancements that
And
solve
we
other
have.
problems
And
that
we have. We
exist,
absolutely
as
have.
opposed to solving problems that God caused himself.
Sunscreen is chemistry. At the end of the day, that is mathematics.
Wait, what?
Sunscreen is all based off like chemistry. You
Yes,
need-
yeah, correct. But this is just it was made in order to solve a problem that God created in the first place. Like, why is God creating so many problems for us?
I think.
Do you agree that it's like evil? If someone caused someone else to get skin cancer, that if I push a button and it caused someone to get skin cancer, that I would be doing an immoral thing?
Yeah, you would, obviously.
So if I made a robot that goes out and gives people skin cancer via the transmission of UV rays, would you agree that that's an immoral thing?
That would be an immoral thing, yeah.
Yeah. So if I made like a big old sun that emits UV radiation,
Yeah, but give me a second.
and gives people
That is
skin
man-made,
cancer,
is it
if
not?
I did
Your robot
this,
would be
would that be an
man-made.
immoral thing?
Wait, let's go back to what you're saying. Your robot would be a man-made thing, would it not? You would
Yeah,
be
but
the
let's say that we get so advanced that I'm like making a sun. If I make a sun and that sun
and
gives people
also-
skin
wait,
cancer,
and
but I
also you
easily
would be
could
the
have
one
made it such that
controlling
it didn't give people skin cancer,
Yeah,
would
but
that be
you-
a moral thing to do?
It would not be a moral thing to do. If you were to do
Yeah,
it, if you
cool.
had a
So
robot,
if God makes a sun that gives people skin cancer, is that a moral thing to do?
it's because that's the thing. He's not like, there are two different things that there's a small misconception with what you're saying. You are controlling the robot. Is God controlling the sun? No, he is not.
No, but if I made the robot look completely autonomous, like it just goes out and gives people skin
Like,
cancer
it
on
would
its
just go
own.
around.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
just goes
you could
around and
find a
gives
way to
people skin
disconnect it,
cancer on its
would you
own.
not?
Yeah.
You could just find a way to disconnect it. That still doesn't.
Well, wait,
make
but
any
I'm just
sense.
asking, like, would that
What
be a
you're
moral
saying-
thing to do? Like, just to put out like this autonomous, like skin
No,
cancer producing
it
robot?
would not. It would not be an atomic.
Yeah, I
it would not
agree.
be
Yeah.
a moral
So in the
thing to
same
do.
way, even though I'm not like literally selecting the people to get skin cancer, I just create the mechanism by which they do get skin cancer with the knowledge that they're going to get skin cancer. That would be the immoral thing to do. So God made the sun knowing that we would get skin cancer, and he made it anyway in the exact same way.
All right, but I'm also gonna go and backtrack a little bit. You know that also we have an atmosphere that protects us from the UV rays, right? And that atmosphere, we've been the ones that we degraded the atmosphere and have caused for UV rays and to actually affect us in a stronger way. You do know that, right? With pollution and stuff like that.
Do UV rays
Yeah,
affect
the
us
atmosphere.
stronger with climate change?
The ozone, like the ozone in the atmosphere is actually prevents you from getting.
Oh, okay,
that's why
sure.
at
No, that's
certain
totally
places-
fine. But regardless,
why at
why would he
certain
make it
places
so?
on
Even
shit,
even
so at
before
high
climate change,
altitude-
people got skin cancer before climate change. So it's like just a completely
Absolutely,
irrelevant point.
absolutely,
But it's like a fun
absolutely.
fact, I guess.
No, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think
So
that's-
let's focus on the time before climate change. Why would God give these people skin cancer?
I don't think he's not meaning to give you skin cancer, and he's not the one. At the end of the day, like you have to stop saying God is the one giving us skin cancer. The sun.
But God
is
made the
one
sun, and the sun gives us skin cancer, and God knew that the sun was going to give us skin cancer before He made it, and He made it anyway. God gave us skin cancer.
to give us hardships so that we could strive for greatness.
Yeah. Wait. So then God does give us skin cancer, so we could strive for greatness.
Yeah, and he also gave us a cure, did he not?
Oh, well, for skin cancer, no, He didn't.
Well, I mean,
But wait.
yeah,
But I just want to
cure,
be clear.
but-
This is like you did just say verbatim that God is the one who's giving us skin cancer.
No. I did not say that. I said
You
the
said that
sun.
He's giving us skin cancer for greatness. Like everyone heard it.
Well, what I meant to say is that he. No, I didn't say that. I said he gives us hardships so that we can strive. That's what I
And
said.
do these hardships include skin cancer?
I think the sun is a hardship. The sun.
But do the hardships include skin cancer? Because the sun itself is not a hardship. The sun is essential for life. It's like the
absolutely.
source of
It is-
like most of
the
the
source
energy
of
on the
living, and
planet.
it
The
is
sun is like
also
just
a hardship.
essential.
If you stay out in the sun in a desert, you will get dehydrated. You will
Yeah, but
get
like the sun
burned.
is just going to be essential for like every part of life. But
Exactly.
God could have made this and just not given us skin cancer. That's the point of the argument.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There are hardships in life. Not everything is made to perfection towards us because we are not perfect. If we were perfect, we would not be damaged by UV rays. That's why we need technological advancements to be able to help us with our hardships because we are not perfect. You know?
Yeah, but you disagree that God is the one giving us skin cancer. But so in the instance when I make like a robot with the knowledge that it's going to go out and give like it's going to go out and like shoot people with like UV rays and give them skin cancer, or like at least like roll the dice on giving them skin cancer, would you say that I'm the one who gave it to him?
Yeah, you're the cause of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how is it disanalogous to say that if God makes a sun which shoots out UV rays and causes the development of skin cancer, how is
Because
this
your
not
robot
God
has
causing skin
absolutely
cancer?
no
Could you
other
explain that
purpose
to me?
than to get skin cancer. The sun has many valuable purposes.
Yes, yeah. But one of the things that it does is provide skin. So let's say that I change my robot, that it doesn't just like shoot out UV rays and give people skin cancer, that it also does other things, like it like waters the grass, and that it is like a carbon sequestration device. So it's actively working against climate change, and it's like solar powered or whatever. Am I causing skin cancer in this case still?
Wait, go back and say that again?
Yeah. So let's say that I
Just-
make a robot. The robot like shoots out like UV radiation, which gives people skin cancer. But it also like is a carbon sequestration device. So it sucks carbon out of the atmosphere and it's like fighting against climate change. It's like solar powered. It's like super good for the environment. Despite the fact that it has like benefits, the fact that I made this robot to shoot UV rays at people, am I the cause of them getting skin cancer?
Yes, you are being a cause
Yes.
of them.
So how is God not the cause of us getting skin cancer?
Because he placed the sun there, and yeah, I mean, his existence is what made the sun and whatever. Like it's like we were saying, he created it or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's because we are not perfect. Because I believe that the universe is not designed for us to like just for it to be perfect for.
So this is just not an answer to the question, because my question is like, if
But it
we
kinda-
agree that in
what
the
you're
robot
thinking-
scenario
you were
where the
taking
robot
one
is
con-
going around and like giving people skin cancer, that
Yeah,
I am
you're
causing
taking
people to
one
have
con out of
skin
many
cancer.
pros. Like the sun, you're taking one con out of the sun and just
Yeah. Well, and you're taking one con
allowing
out of the
all the
robot,
pros
but you
that
would
it
still
has.
say that I
There are-
caused people to like
For
have skin
argument's
cancer.
sake,
Even if
we
even
could
if the
say
even if the
that the
robot does like
sun
other good
is
things,
better-
it's still giving people skin cancer. I'm still the cause of their cancer.
Yeah. I just want to ask you.
Yes. Yeah. Wait. So then you would agree that God is the cause of people's cancer. Just say that you think God is the cause of people's cancer. He made the sun. He knew that if he made the sun, it would emit UV radiation. He knew that if it emitted UV radiation, it would give people skin cancer. He made the sun in the exact same way anyway. You would have to conclude that God is the source of skin cancer.
Yeah, but I think he did it for like there is it's not.
Okay,
like,
perfect.
it's
So
not exactly how
God
you're
is
phrasing
the one giving us skin cancer. Great.
it's not exactly how you're phrasing it though, because you're saying that God purposely like is giving us skin cancer.
Do you think there's a good reason for us to get skin cancer?
Skin cancer today is extremely low compared to how it was before, and honestly, the people that like,
That's like completely irrelevant. That actually like that's a nonsense thing to say. It's like, well, the number of people I've murdered this year is much lower than the number of people I've murdered last year.
But I mean, you're taking I mean, that's a statistical number that now today you know the damages of the sun, so you can take care of your skin, right? So you don't get skin cancer, right? I have
Well, yeah,
skin.
but people who do,
I use sunblock.
you can do like the
I
perfect
stay
thing.
in
You
the
can be
shade
the
when I know I've
perfect
been out in the
person.
sun for too long. So like, why would you not do it? Like,
You could be the perfect
At the end of the
person in
day, it's a
regards to like
if
skin
you're the
health.
one-
You can
if
you can
you
wear
know
your
the facts-
sunscreen every single time, and you will
if
still
you know the
there's
fa-
still a
wait, but
chance
if
that
you
you'll get
know
skin
the
cancer.
facts of the sun, if you know what happens if you stay out in the sun too long, why would you do it? I think
Because you need to be in the sun
purposely
to be
being
alive in the
ignorant
first place. You
and
need the
then
sun to
getting
get
sun
vitamin D
like,
in the
I
first
feel
place.
like that's literally just like that's literally just
Also, I should be able to stay in the sun. Like, it would be a lot cooler if I could just stay in the sun. I have no reason why God wouldn't want us to be hanging out in the sun.
you just want there to be sun all day and you could just chill out there in the sun.
No, I
and
mean,
not
there should be
have
night
nothing to
as
do.
well, but I mean, I don't know. Like, the sun is cool. Being in the sun is fun.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
that's
so then
perfect.
why wouldn't God, like, just allow us to chill in the sun?
You can chill out in the sun. You just cannot chill out for, I guess you could say, multiple hours throughout days and days and days and days, because that is, and even you could do that if you're wearing like protective gear. You can do that. Why
So
do
would you
think-
say that, like, every person who has skin cancer, that it's, like, their fault that they got skin cancer?
I think they some, not all of them, but I think definitely a lot of them were ignorant.
Oh, so let's talk about the ones who, would you say that there's anyone, do you think that, I guess I'll just ask you like the same question, or maybe like narrow it down. Is there anyone who you think has skin cancer, but it's not their fault that they have skin cancer?
Yeah, I think there absolutely has to be somebody that has gotten skin cancer and it's not their fault. Yeah.
Yeah, so whose fault is it?
I would say it's the world's fault. Us.
And who made the world?
No. I'm not saying the world's fault as in like the sun. I'm saying as us and people. You know why?
Why?
Because if we were to spread education across the entire world, then there would be people that like I'm sure there's some kids in Africa that they don't know the harms of the sun and they don't have sunblock. They don't have the protective needs. I mean, I'm sure they know by now that because of what they've heard from, you could say their ancestors or whatever, that if you stay out in the sun for too long, it will cause some damage. So they try to look for shade. But if they knew the exact facts, I think they would be taking better care of the skin. And if they had that education, if they had those, if they had that protective gear, if they had the means to do it, they would do it. You know. And at the end of the day,
so this is just going to be like a contradiction, because it sounds like you're saying that it's like the fault of the people who didn't educate you, but what I'm saying, like what you said earlier, was that it's like the fault of nature or like the fault of the world. So if by that you just mean like people, then sure, whatever. But let's talk about a time before we had like this advanced science, when people got skin cancer and nobody knew why, and nobody knew what to do to prevent it, and nobody even knew what the cause of it was. So whose fault is it that these people had skin cancer?
That's not, because what you're saying is that like that's the, I mean, at the end of the day, that is the sun's fault if what you're saying is cause and effect. But at the end of the day, what I believe in is that is a purpose for us to find technological advancements. And at the end of the day, it's all about a learning progress. Like it's a learning process. Sorry.
And so who made the sun in these instances?
God. God created everything.
Yeah. So God made the sun knowing that it would like shoot out UV rays, thus giving people skin cancer.
Yeah, but I mean, God doesn't necessarily. It's because this earth is literally not meant for us. Like, this is not eternal life, so you will get harmed. I mean, everybody that says otherwise is just being like, oh wow, I just don't want to get hurt by I don't want to get hurt by these things, but that's just how the world is. It's
why would he make the world that way? Like, so I guess like another question.
It's meant for you to have hardships. You need to have hardships in life. So
Yeah, why can't we have hardships caused by other things that isn't nature itself? Like, why would God unalive like 60,000 people a year with earthquakes?
He's not the one doing it, though. You think
So
earthquakes
so
are
who's
caused
the
by
one doing earthquakes?
the earth causes the earth causes the,
And who
own
made
earth?
the earth do that?
Yeah, he did. But
Okay, so then
can you
God
agree with
causes
me? Can you, wait,
earthquakes.
can you agree with me that with today's mathematics and architecture, some places have solved earthquakes? Like, you could say,
Yeah, and some haven't, and 60,000 people a year are
absolutely.
still unalived
That's what
by
we're
them.
saying. That's technological advancements. We just haven't.
I mean,
shared.
that's just
We
going to be the
haven't
result of
shared.
things
Us
like
as humans, we
imperialism and
haven't shared with the rest of the
colonialism.
world. But there are
Like
places
the people who are hurt
I live
most
in a
by this are the
country-
countries
I
who are
live
the
in a
victims
country
of
where
things
there are
like
many
imperialism and
earthquakes, and
colonialism.
my house
But
is earthquake proof because I know what can
so
happen.
why would there be earthquakes at all in the first place?
I mean, I cannot tell you the exact science of why there are earthquakes. But
Well, I know that it's because of tectonic plates. Why would
Exactly.
God
That's
make
what I know.
why would God make the earthquake in the first place?
for the hardships, so that we could find stronger materials. You could use, like,
So
it's all-
so why doesn't
it's all
God come down
relative.
and beat
Like,
the fuck out of us every single day for the hardship?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you gotta learn. You gotta strive through hardships, and you gotta make yourself a better.
So
person.
wait, so you think that God should come down in like a physical form and like kick the dog shit out of us every
No,
single
no,
day?
no, 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 no. Absolutely not. That's
Wait,
not,
but imagine how like good of fighters we would be. Imagine how like innovative we would be at like defending against God if like every single day he just came down and like harassed the shit out of us.
No, there's no reason for him to do that.
Yeah, no, for the hardship, remember?
No, but that's different because he made the
Why is
world
that
as
different?
it is. Because he made the world as it is with certain things that do happen across the world, and you have to learn throughout.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
years.
but you're saying that it's fine because it's like provides us hardship and that hardship is good. So I'm just wondering, like, why doesn't God make a whole bunch more hardship for us?
You don't think we have enough?
Some people certainly don't. Like,
No,
why
I
doesn't
think-
God make more hardship for like Elon Musk, for example?
Well, I think Elon Musk has had his fair share of hardships.
I strongly disagree. I think he grew up with money from an apartheid emerald mine, one
Yeah,
of the
but do
most
you know
evil
him
systems in the
personally? Like,
history
do
of
you know him
history.
personally?
He was born rich. He had lots of money to allow him to try as many times as he wanted in order to succeed. And now he's like one of the richest people on the planet.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like clearly the hardship is not equally distributed.
Yeah, that's I completely agree because I believe I mean a thing that is also not very common with what I believe in is that, as we know, there are babies that die and stuff, and you obviously have to live a full life, and I don't think it's one life. I think you get many lives across different times to be able to prove yourself to go to the eternal place once he comes and he judges us for what we've done and how we've lived our lives. So, like what you're saying, when people die unexpectedly, that's just, it was your time for your life to end. Like,
Do you think it would be more so if you're saying that earthquakes are fine because of hardship, let's say I have a button in front of me and if I push this button it's going to cause an earthquake that's going to kill like tons of people. Would it be moral for me to push this button?
there are buttons like that, but they test them out with structures and
Yeah, wait, and is it moral to push the button? I don't care about like the fun facts surrounding the button.
I mean,
I just want to
going
know,
back
is it
to the
moral to
it's the
cause an
same.
earthquake that kills a bunch of people? Is it a moral thing to do?
We've already established this because you said the exact same thing for the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but is the
It's
answer
the
going to be the
same
same that it is in fact not moral to cause this hardship?
It's the same argument. For you, it would not be moral, but God made the world as it is. He
Yeah,
actually
but
made
so I just want to
it-
be clear. So despite the fact that me creating an earthquake would cause hardship, that's not good. But you do
Yeah, but
think
God
that
made
it's
the
good
earth
that God
way
creates
before
hardship.
He made us. God made the earth way before He made us.
No, that's cool. But why would God want to? So if He made the world before He made us, did He like make it in mind with the fact that we would have to have like all these hardships? That, like, it sounds like God made this world to be like gratuitously cruel, that he's going to give us like skin cancer for the hardship, and he's going to cause earthquakes for the hardship.
Yeah, but we can't speculate on how a God will think.
Wait, would you be willing to transfer all the money in your bank account to me right now for the hardship?
Absolutely not.
Okay, why not?
Because there are so many other hardships.
Yeah, cool. And there are so many other hardships without earthquakes.
Yeah.
So then why would God want to do earthquakes?
He already made them before Earth. Like, he made them before us. So you
but he knew that we would exist.
What you're asking is because you're asking very.
Wait, why is that a relevant factor? I think I'm just not understanding what you're saying. Like, the fact that he made them before he made us is completely irrelevant.
Yeah, but you're asking questions that are not necessarily relevant to why God exists. You're asking why.
Well, but it is, because the conclusion of this, if you just want, and it sounds like you're conceding that you have no explanation or answer. The conclusion is that earthquakes are evil. The conclusion is that skin cancer is evil. So if someone is causing skin cancer, if someone is causing earthquakes, that person is evil. And God cannot be all good and also be doing these evil things.
He's not doing those things, though.
So God doesn't. So you think God made the earth, which causes earthquakes? He made it knowing that it would cause earthquakes, and he made it anyway in the exact same way, even though he could have made it to not cause earthquakes. But you don't think God is the one doing it, and you think God made the sun emitting UV radiation, knowing that it would emit UV radiation, knowing that this UV radiation would give people skin cancer, knowing that people would die of skin cancer, knowing that young people would die of skin cancer. God made the sun in the exact same way and humanity in the exact same way, but you don't think that he's the cause of skin cancer.
All right, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna say something so that you can take this. This will be my last statement, because I think this is going in a cycle of morality and stuff like that. But what I want to say is that God made the earth way before us. We cannot speculate on God's plan or even the way he thinks, right? Because we don't know him. You and I, we don't know him personally. We can't even see him. You believe he doesn't exist. I believe he does. But yeah, he made the earth way long before us.
And why is that relevant?
It is relevant because he made the earth like that before he made us. So
and why is that relevant?
Like that, you're saying that why would he make earthquakes?
Oh, wait, so did God know that when God was making earthquakes, did he know that he was going to be making us as well?
We don't know that. That's the thing.
Oh, sure. So in John, it says that God knows all things. Do you think that that's true? Do you think that God is not omniscient?
I think when they say that God knows all things, is that he knows all things, like, right now. Like, he knows he is everywhere. Like, he is in every light. Like, he's in every life. He's in every person. He's in every soul. Like, that is, like, God is all knowing. Like, he knows because he is everywhere.
So in Luke, there's a verse where Jesus specifically says he was talking to Peter, and he says, "Peter, you will deny me 3 times." And then Peter does deny him 3 times. Do you think that was just a lucky guess on Jesus's part?
Wait, what? Can you repeat that again?
So there's a verse in Luke where Jesus tells Peter, "You will deny knowing me. You will deny being my disciple 3 times." Do you think that was just a lucky guess?
No. Of course he knew.
Yeah. So it sounds like God does know the future.
Yeah, to a certain extent, but you don't know how far. Like, how far do you know? Like, you can't know that.
Well, so if God is making the earth on like day 1 and making humanity day 3 or day 4 or whatever, so it's like God's power is like time restricted.
Wrong. You know that's been proven wrong. He didn't make God in one day and then he made us in the 4th day.
Well, that's what the Bible says. So at that point, you're just rejecting the Bible.
I'm telling you. Do you think? I don't think that's not real. I mean, there's literally scientific facts.
Yeah, it's not real.
That's not real. That's
I agree.
All stories
it's not
that have
real.
been made by man.
The Bible isn't
God
real. W.
God made the earth billions of years before he made us, and we do not know we still do not know why he made it like that. Obviously, you can't know unless you were to ask him. We might be able to ask him one day. I mean,
so you're saying that when God was making the earth such that it was going to have earthquakes, that he had no idea he was going to be creating humanity, that he didn't know?
I can't say that because I don't know that. You're saying something. You're trying to get me to speculate on something.
Yeah, so it's there's one of
And
two
you're
two
speculating
there's one
as
of two
well. You're not
answers.
giving any proof. You're just
There's
speculating.
I
You're
will
really
I'll
just
give like a
speculating.
deductive proof. I'll give a deductive proof right now. So there's one of two answers. Either God did know, in which case you do need to answer for why he made earthquakes, knowing that it would kill so many humans every single year, why he caused the sun to give us skin cancer, knowing it would give us skin cancer, knowing that he was going to create us, or he didn't know that we were going to exist, in which case he's not all knowing. All paths lead to contradiction. So do you want to go with the yes or do you want to go with the no?
To what? To God is all knowing?
Yeah. Or no, wait, to specifically, like, did God know when God was making the sun and making the earth such that it would cause earthquakes and skin cancer? Did God know that he was going to create humanity?
Because you can't answer that. That
Well,
would be me.
wait, but I told you what the two possible answers to that are, and I told you what the
Listen,
implications of each answer is.
you're-
So
what you're saying
either we conclude that God doesn't exist because he's not all knowing, or we conclude that God is not all good because he made earthquakes knowing he would make humans and that
What I do
humans
believe
would
is that
suffer
God is all
gratuitously in
knowing. The question is
earthquakes.
that God is all knowing. I can say yes.
So you're saying that God is not all knowing.
No, I'm saying he is all knowing.
Okay, so then, oh, sure. So then you would say that God did know when he was making earthquakes. He did know that he was going to make humanity.
When you specify it like that, you can't say if he did know or not because we don't know God.
But you
Like,
said
we
he's
don't-
all knowing.
He is all knowing, but
So he's all
if
knowing,
you're
but you don't
all-knowing,
know if he
listen
knew
to me.
whether or not he was
Listen
going to
to me,
create
listen to me,
humanity.
Listen to me. When we're saying he's all knowing, like you're saying he predicted what was going to happen, right? He predicted it in the Bible. That's because he had already made us. So once he's made something, I'm sure he can predict the outcome. But when he made Earth, did he know that he was going to make us? I'm not entirely sure.
If he's all knowing, then presumably.
Not necessarily. Why would he be why would it be any different to you when you're making something new? Like if you made something, like if you made a like a domino stack and you know you're going to drop it, you already know what's going to happen. If you made it perfectly and you've calculated it, like physics will tell you what's going to happen, right? But how do you go and say like that you were going to know like later on if you were to color it a different color or something?
Before God made the earth, did he know that it was going to have earthquakes?
Before God made the earth?
Yeah.
I'm sure when he planned it, he did. I'm sure as soon as he planned the universe, he knew that Earth was going to have earthquakes.
Cool. So despite the fact that the earth didn't exist, he did know what was going to happen. So
Yes,
despite
because
the
he was
fact that
about to
humans
create
didn't
it.
exist yet, he did know that he was going to create them. That's what all knowing means.
No, all knowing means is that you know everything, but you know everything in the moment, And
That's not, this is, nobody thinks that that's what, wait, so if that's true, then how did if Jesus only knew everything in the moment, then how did Jesus know what Peter was going to do in the future?
I mean, in the Genesis chapters, I'm pretty sure he says.
Wait. We're
God-
talking about like a chapter of Luke. So if all knowing means that you just know what's going to happen in the present, or that you know what's happening in the present, how did Jesus know what was going to happen in the future?
I believe that God is all knowing, and I think he does. He probably did know when he made Earth that he was going to make us.
Yeah.
As he made everything else.
Oh,
And,
cool.
yeah,
so
but
he
that's- at the
did
end of the
know
day, that
when he
is
was making the
speculation,
earth,
so
he knew
I
that he was
can't
also
tell
going to make
you
us.
as a straight
Great.
fact. I can't tell you that's a full belief because I don't necessarily know that. But
But it is what you
personally
believe, so you should be able to
Yeah.
defend it, presumably.
Yeah, I have, and I'm telling you that it's all throughout hardships and stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you suffer, you have to advance and you have to make technological advancements and all that. And what you're saying is that he's being immoral to us, but at the end of the day, it's because we have to face these hardships because we are sinful. Us as humans, we are sinful.
So
We
did God
prove
decide that being sinful, the result of being sinful, is that literal kids would be killed in earthquakes?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like
Okay, well then God is like just evil. If
No,
God
no.
decided that
God
kids are going to
definitely
be
did
killed in
create evil.
earthquakes, that he's
God definitely
going to
did
go
create
forth
evil.
and like
That's
take the
also
lives of
another- that's
newborns
another-
for
that's
literally
also
no
another
reason, then
chapter.
God's evil.
God did create evil, so and we can't understand His purpose until we have fulfilled our life here, which is something that we will have to do. But what I was saying is that I think there's substantial facts that God does exist throughout like mathematics and physics and evolution and just how.
Oh, well, you failed to argue even a single one of those. So.
Well, yeah, because I couldn't give you the exact name, but like I will send it to you, and I'm sure we can chat another time. But I unfortunately have to go. It was nice chatting with you.
Yeah, it was nice chatting with you as well. All right, hey, make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 190K. I'm hitting my second wind. Fortunately, or maybe I'm not, and maybe it's all going to go downhill. But we'll see. Because I do get like very tired. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Consider joining the Discord, link in bio. It's a great place. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy, really whatever you want to talk about. Although the web link doesn't work, you can access it via a web browser. So just go on TikTok.com, go to Ian is hiding, and with that, you will be able to, or no, not Ian is hiding. I'm like so spacey, so loopy that I forgot what I was saying. Go to allegedly Ian. I did change my name, and access it that way. And with that, we can go to the next guest. But yeah. Hey, what's up?
Hello?
How's it going?
Hi,
Hey, how old are you?
I'm 18,
And when were you born?
2005.
Okay. So do you think God is real?
I don't think God is real.
You don't?
No.
Oh, I'm just looking for people who do, but I appreciate you coming on up here.
Oh, sorry.
Nah, you're good. Make sure you only request to join if you disagree, if you think that God is not real. I'm looking for some debates. Hey, what's up?
Hello. Good. How you doing?
Doing good. How old are you?
I'm 20.
And do you think that God is real?
I do think God is real.
And which God do you believe in? What's your religion?
I believe in Jesus Christ.
So do you have evidence or an argument or proof that Christianity is true?
I do. The eyewitnesses?
Okay. Which eyewitnesses? Could you give me like eyewitnesses that aren't the Bible?
Well, I rely on the Bible, so the eyewitnesses will be John, Luke, Mark, Matthew.
Yeah, so there's just going to be like a structural problem in your argument that you're saying that the Bible is true because of the things contained within the Bible, that the Bible proves itself to be true. You need to rely on something external. This would be like if I took a power strip and like plugged it into itself, and then wondered like, why is there no power coming out of this? The reason is, and so you can rely on the Bible for some things, but it needs to be verified by other sources. So if the Bible says that Jesus resurrected, and other sources, things that are not the Bible, also say that Jesus was resurrected, then I think that that's probably going to be pretty good proof that the Bible is true. But unless you can provide me these other sources that say that Jesus was resurrected or that Jesus did anything miraculous, then I'm just not going to be able to take your word for it.
So what if I okay, so can I ask you a question then?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I asked you for you to prove me the 100% that George Washington was real, what is going to be your argument on that?
So I don't know if I'd be able to prove that 100% he was real because of like external factors, but I could prove like 99.999 repeating percent. So, which is like essentially the same thing. And the way that I would do that is I would just cite all the wide variety of sources. I wouldn't rely on one source. The reason why I can prove that George Washington existed, almost certainly, but Jesus was not mystical, is because I have I don't know, thousands, tens of thousands of sources, eyewitness accounts, firsthand testimony saying that George Washington existed, that he was real, from a wide variety of sources, whereas you only have one source that says that Jesus was mystical, and it's the Bible, the thing that you're trying to prove true in the first place.
Okay, but you said eyewitnesses and testimonies, and then you said a variety of other articles that prove that he was real. Yeah, you can't name any. You just said eyewitnesses and testimonies, just as I know that there was eyewitnesses and testimonies regarding that he was real.
Yeah, so I think Jesus was a real person. I don't think that he did anything magical, though. I would not
You do
believe
think that he's real?
that George Washington did something magical if there was only one eyewitness account or only like one set of eyewitness accounts that was like, yeah, George Washington was magical. I wouldn't buy that for a second. So I think Jesus existed. I just don't think that he had magical properties or that he was the Son of God.
So you do think that he existed and that he was real?
Yeah.
So why don't you think that he is God then?
Because there's no evidence that he ever did anything mystical.
There's no evidence that he did any miracles then? That's what you think?
None at all.
So the eyewitness is not enough for you?
No, because the eyewitnesses come from the Bible. The thing you're trying to prove is that the Bible is true, that it's real. You can't prove that the Bible is true by just like citing the testimony in the Bible. This would be like saying that like Harry Potter is the son of God because Harry Potter does like magical things within the text of Harry Potter.
But that's not in the Bible though.
Yeah, but that's in
So,
Harry
like
Potter.
I said, I rely on the Bible, so why would I rely on another book?
Yeah,
that
but
you
it's just
can
like a
tell me
logical
that-
issue, right? Like it's a circular argument essentially. It's like saying that the Bible is true because the Bible is true.
Well, I'm not saying the Bible is true because it's true. Like just like if I say a book is true, let's say another book that's talking about somebody else being God. I'm not just gonna say, oh yeah, just because they said it, I'm gonna believe it. But it's because on the Bible you have these eyewitnesses that witness that Jesus was real and that he was God in human form.
Yeah, and why do you think that these eyewitness accounts are true?
Because like I said, I rely on the Bible. That's why. And
Yeah,
that's,
yeah. So you're saying that the Bible is
archaeological
true because the
evidence that he
Bible
was
is
real.
true. It's a circular argument.
Yeah, but like I just said, like there's archaeological evidence that he was real.
Oh, yeah, I believe he was real. I just don't think he was the Son of God.
So you don't think he was the Son of God because he didn't do any miracles? That's what
Yeah,
you
correct.
think. But that's what you think, though.
Yeah. So why? I mean, why should I not think that?
Because he did.
Oh, sure. So what's the evidence that he did miracles without using a circular argument saying that the Bible is true because the Bible is true? What's the evidence that Jesus did miracles?
Okay, so the same way I'm gonna ask you, what's the evidence that George Washington was the first president of the United States?
A wide variety of sources.
Okay, so like go on, like
Yeah,
elaborate
yeah.
more.
So I don't know, like literally all the founding fathers talked about George Washington and referred to him as the first president in their writings, which we still have to this day. It's just like the sheer number of sources is the reason. Also, the Gospels weren't actually written by Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. The Gospel of Luke, for example, is estimated to have been written between 80 years and 120 years after the death of Jesus. So unless you think Luke is like 120 years old, the Gospels were not actually written by the disciples. They weren't written by people who knew Jesus.
Okay, let's go back to what you said about there's a lot of articles about George Washington being the first president and the fathers and all this. How do you still not giving me enough evidence on whether that's true or not?
What do you mean?
Unless there was eyewitnesses that witnessed that he was real, right?
Yeah, yes, that's like
And
these
that-
eyewitness accounts saying that he was real and that he was like the first president, but it's a wide variety of them. They're not claiming, like, I believe that Jesus was a real person because there are like there's a wide variety of accounts. I don't think Jesus is a real person just because the Bible says he was a real person. I think he was a real person because we have like documents from like Rome, for example, describing how Jesus is a real guy who like actually existed and that they sentenced to crucifixion. There's evidence that Jesus existed for a wide variety of eyewitness accounts saying that Jesus existed. There is not evidence that Jesus resurrected from the dead.
You said there's no evidence that he resurrected from the dead?
Yes.
Well, what about the archaeological evidence that there is?
So what's the
And
archaeological
scientifically-
evidence?
And scientifically proven that
Yeah.
he did rose from the dead.
Yeah. Can you show me the scientific article that says he rose from the dead?
I'll show you the scientific article that it shows that prove that he rose from the dead when you show me the articles that prove that you know that George Washington was the first president.
Oh, so I'm not claiming that George Washington existed in like a scientific sense. I'm saying that we have like a wide variety of sources of writing that says that he existed. That's all I'm saying. But it seems like you actually don't have any scientific proof or any proof whatsoever that Jesus resurrected. So I believe George Washington existed, and I believe that Jesus existed. Cool. What I don't believe is that Jesus did anything mystical, because I don't have evidence that Jesus did anything mystical. So you said that you had a scientific article saying that Jesus resurrected. Can I get your scientific article saying that Jesus resurrected?
No, I said there's scientific proof.
Yes, what's the scientific proof that Jesus resurrected?
Yeah, I didn't say I had a specific article. I said there's scientific proof where you can just go on Google and search it up.
But wait, I don't want to Google it. I want you to give me the source. I'm not going to do your job for you.
I mean, but you're the one who wants to know, like, whether
Well,
that was
but
true.
it's your burden to prove this to me. I'm not going to like take your word for it.
Well, you're not taking my word for it. You're searching up yourself.
Yeah, but I want you to give me the specific source. Like, I'm not going to, because if I Google it and I find nothing, then what?
Then I'm gonna agree on whatever you say. That
Yeah, so I've
you
actually
did
already
wrong.
looked into this, and I found literally nothing other than the Bible that claims that Jesus was resurrected. There's not a single thing.
And how am I supposed to know that's true? What you're saying right now? When
I
haven't
mean,
done
you
it
can
right
do
now?
the search yourself. I mean, if you don't, unless you have the evidence, I come to my conclusions based on evidence. If I don't have evidence, then I'm not going to conclude that something is true. If I don't have any evidence that that Jesus was resurrected, then I'm not going to believe that Jesus was resurrected. There's no evidence. It just didn't happen. Like, we really have no reason to think that it did.
Well, I don't know. I just go based on the Bible and what it says, and then on the archaeological evidence and
Yeah, so
scientific.
what's the archaeological evidence that Jesus was resurrected?
Well, for example, I seen that they found the nails that they crucified Jesus with.
Let's look into that.
And-
have
and
you
the
have you actually
sandals.
like looked into this claim before, or did you just hear this from like a different Christian?
No, I actually saw it. Like I
You
looked
actually
into
saw the nails themselves.
No, like I saw it on my phone. Like,
Oh wait,
I
actually,
wasn't there looking.
no, this is like totally fine. Wait, I actually realized this actually doesn't prove that Jesus was the Son of God. So I agree, Jesus was crucified. Cool, sounds good. Why does that mean that he resurrected?
Okay, hold on.
Hey, Tashika, thanks so much for the raid. I appreciate you.
Hold on, give me a minute.
Welcome in. I love all of you. But as y'all are coming in, make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 200K likes. Hey, welcome on in. All the Tashika viewers, I appreciate all of you. Thanks so much. And I appreciate you, Tashika. Huge W. So if you're just joining us now, we're currently waiting for the guest to provide us evidence, the archaeological evidence that Jesus rose from the dead. We're waiting. If I were a gambling person, I'd probably assume that the guest opened up Google, typed in
No, I got it.
archaeological evidence that Jesus resurrected, and is about to come back with nothing. So let's see it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up? What's the
All right.
evidence?
Yeah. Well, you want the article or that?
Yeah, I want the archaeological evidence that Jesus was resurrected.
Yeah.
I can't hear you if you're off the app, by the way. But make sure you double tap it on that
Okay.
screen.
His
Oh
name.
no, I'm sorry. Go for it.
It's named peacefulscience.org.
What's the name of the article? So peaceful science seems to be mission and values. Peaceful science fills a unique role in the conversation, intending to support trustworthy scientists as they engage with the public. Boop. I think that this is just a Christian website, to be clear. But what's the evidence? Can you give me the archaeological evidence that Jesus resurrected? What's the name of the article? guest. I mean, if you had the source pulled up, it should be like really quick to just like tell me the name of the article. I can't hear you if you're off the app. If you want to give me evidence, I'd love to hear it, but otherwise I should probably move on to the next guest. All right, well, I appreciate you coming on up. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get to 210K. It seems like he had no archaeological evidence that Jesus was ever resurrected, which is true. There is no evidence that Jesus was resurrected, but drop a follow as well if you're interested, so you'll never miss a single live in the future. And you can also consider joining the Discord, link in bio.